my heart.
Hello again, friends. And you are our friends. I may be loud.
Screaming.
It looks like I'm loud.
Screaming.
Welcome to another edition of Jim Cornette's Drive Thru right here on another fine day. Maybe I am too loud.
Me. He's hurt me.
I'm your host, the great Brian Last. We have an action-packed show today, Survivor Series. Teams of 5 strive to survive, at least they used to. Now, the viewers try to survive, but we'll talk about that.
Now there's plenty of shame in their games.
As well as all sorts of other topics with this man, the leader of the cult of Cornette, Mr. Jim Cornette.
You know, here's another thing that pisses me off. Well, first of all, you hit me right in the chest with that sour note. It sounded like someone had let loose a greased pig catching contest onto a xylophone keyboard.
Oh, come on.
With the you're trying to make up for my lack of perkiness today with the energetic keyboard. You hit me in the chest with the sour belch note there. Then you began screaming in my ears, and my ear is echoing today. You're screaming at us, and I don't know why. I was looking for a way to turn my volume down on this fancy Dan machinery we're using here, just so that I wouldn't. Jesus Christ, and I'm echoing. And here's something else that pisses me off you don't even know about. Why is everything fucking sealed today? Everything is fucking either so they can't poison you or to make it childproof. And it's a sick statement of affairs of society today that we have to worry about people poisoning our medications and our over-the-counter products and our shampoo and our foodstuffs. That's bad enough, but who are these mutant fucking children that are getting into this goddamn shit?
What is this complaint?
I'm sick and I was trying to open my new thing of vitamins just so I have the strength to go on with this goddamn program. Just a little while ago, and I need a pair of scissors, and everything's got to pull this tab. Well, you pull the fucking tab, and your goddamn fingernails come out. The goddamn top doesn't come off. And when I was a child, one of my most pleasurable moments was when you took a big old jar of Jif creamy peanut butter, you twisted open the lid, and you smelled the freshness come out. Now, by the time you finish stabbing it with a goddamn butcher knife, try to pry that goddamn, see, they give you a tab again, as I said, it's like 1/8 of an inch, and you'd rip your fingernails out. You're stabbing it with a knife, trying to pry it up. Then it bends your knife, and then where are you? You got a bent knife. That's good for nothing.
What's the matter with you? What are you complaining about? First of all, you're the only person with this complaint. I've never heard another person with the idea that these things are too secure. We're not letting kids get into these vitamins or whatever your
what
weird
kind of goddamn
was.
Who are these children with power tools that can get into the goddamn fucking over-the-counter vitamin B12? Or the vitamin C, or I've got all kinds of vitamins here. I got the Centrum Silver, because I'm silver now. It's age 55 plus.
Yeah, Silver Age Cornette.
Yeah, I'm transferring, I guess, to Golden Age in a few years. But everything's sealed up, and it all comes from the Tylenol 40 years ago when 3 people fucking got poisoned Tylenol. And did they ever catch that guy? Nevertheless, now everything's fucking sealed up. But
this is a good thing.
Why don't they make the airplane parts out of the shit that they make these sealed toppings on our goddamn mayonnaise with? And then the wings wouldn't fall off.
Well, again, the old question, why don't they just make the whole plane out of the black box?
Well, I asked that question the other day.
But again, safety seals are a good thing so that when you get something in the store, you know that no one's tampered with it. You know that no one's opened it. You know no one's played around with it.
But here's the thing then. Could you give an easily openable boop? Okay, it's been opened. So don't now to take it back to your place of purchase or whatever, but don't make the consumer. How are these old people doing? And the resealable bags. Here's another thing. Easily resealable. No, it's not. Because by the time you've cut into it and hacked into it and pried it open and figured out how to get it open, It's fit for goddamn nothing. It won't seal back together.
What are you talking? What bags that are resealable are you taking power tools to?
You're supposed to tear the thing open where it says tear here, and then it's got the Ziploc thing but it never works because you can't get them apart without fucking prying the whole goddamn thing open.
Because they're keeping it safe for you and for anyone that purchases the product.
It's safe. I'm a starving man and would die with this shit laying in front of him because he couldn't get into it. He was too weak from hunger. How are the elderly getting into this shit when they can't goddamn get in and out of their chair, and suddenly you're expecting them to be able to do these fucking things and these grip strength.
I can see why you have a problem with the resealable bags when you're taking scissors out and cutting around the seal. I mean, that kind of defeats the whole purpose.
Well, because you can't get in the goddamn thing. Well, it's not easily openable, but then it's impossible to reseal. So it's failed at both functions.
Invent something.
Well, I've told, our audience is brilliant. Who was it? Was it an astrophysicist physician that wrote us the other week?
That's right.
We've got brilliant people. Now that I have germinated and inseminated the seed of this, it's up to the people out there, the cult of Cornette, the younger, smarter people that'll be around to. I would see if I invent something now, it'll just be a goddamn hindrance to me in my old age. I'm trying to do less, not more. I'll leave it to the younger people to take my ideas and run with them. And you better run fast, too, because somebody will probably be chasing you.
These great ideas. You're like the next Carrot Top with ideas like this.
Oh, come, what now? What is he talking about? I'm being perfectly serious. We are going to get inundated with emails from people saying, finally, somebody has made a comment about this.
We're going to get emails from older listeners saying, what's Jim's problem? I've been dealing with this.
Oh, come on now. No, everybody is. This is one of those universal problems that everybody is just whatever the fuck it may be. You can't goddamn get into shit. And don't even get me started now, and you already have, about if you go to get razor blades in the store.
Well,
See,
you can't get them in the store. You kind of have to go to the counter.
Well, sometimes you have to break into a goddamn locked cabinet. And then they've got a barbell hanging off of them. And if you walk out close to the front door with it, then alarms will go off and you'll be incinerated or electrified like James Arness, the giant carrot monster in the 1951 version of A Thing from Another World. And that's, again, once you get them home, once they allow you to pay for them and take them out of the store, you try to get a crowbar to get in those goddamn things. It's too hard to get into shit anymore.
We're going to find out that's why there's so much facial hair now in society, because people got fed up with the purchasing of the razor blades, getting them from behind the shield and getting them home, then finding a way to open them. Those are tough. I'll give you that. That's not a safety seal. That's like you need to take out scissors to cut your way through hard plastic.
I bought a pair of scissors the other week at the store. You know what I needed to get into them? A pair of fucking scissors. Things ought to be goddamn more accessible, is what I'm saying.
This has been Happy Talk, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, bite me.
He's in a good mood today, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, he had a great Thanksgiving weekend.
Also, I did, you know what? Since you brought that up, I will be proud to tell you right now that over Thanksgiving weekend, I applied myself, and for the people who have ordered merchandise, especially the new book, Heroes and Friends from JimCornette.com, everything that has been ordered has been personalized and processed and autographed and handed to Hotchkiss Featherbottom through November 23rd. And he is, by the time you hear these words that are coming out of your speakers, ladies and gentlemen, they will have been handed to him on December 2nd, I believe, and he will be in the process of mailing those out. And this week I'm working on the Thanksgiving weekend, Cyber Monday, etc. business. And there's still a chance, is what I'm saying. Now, if you're ordering by the time you hear my voice, you expect to get it by Christmas and you want a personalized book, well, wish in one hand and shit in the other and see which one fills up first.
You know, Hotchkiss shouldn't tape the boxes. They should be easier to open for all the people out there who are going to receive these gifts. Just boop, they pop right open.
No, well, let me tell you something. Our boxes, if you have a pair of scissors or a sharp object, you can just go boop right down the seam and boop right at the end and boop. There you see boop. And a boop, it pops out at you. That's if it's a box. Or we have easy open stay flats where you just pull the tab and boop. So you can get in our shit, but it's still secure. What one guy just told me, sent an email, said that my mailman ordered 2 copies of Heroes and Friends, and the mailman bent the package to go in his goddamn mailbox. I said, who's your mailman, Mark Henry? These things are into 2 of these things stacked on top of each other with cardboard and fucking stay flat. I think I could stand on it. So we are replacing that for Mark Henry's fucking postal customer. But nevertheless, I'm excited about that, folks. So once again, we'll still take your orders no matter when they come in, but we are closer than ever before with filling things, but Christmas now is a little dodgy, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Non-personalized books are still going out regularly. And that what did you say that caused me to think about that? I don't know.
Thanksgiving.
Well, Thanksgiving I was giving weekend. Thanks.
That's right.
That's what I did for about 3.5 days straight. But I've satisfied I've serviced the customers. And I got an update, Brian, before I turn your show back over to you. Remember, we read an email a few weeks ago from a guy whose name I assumed was pronounced Raymond's, but it was spelled in an unusual fashion.
Raimonds.
Well, no, that was your pronunciation.
Yeah, you got to roll the R for that.
You rolling the R and then coming up behind the M and double legging it. But he emailed and said, thanks for the kind words. But to answer our question, it is pronounced like Raymond, but like, he says it's pronounced like Raymond, but like Raymond. So it's Raymond. But it's not any Raimunds, it's just Raymond. He's of Norwegian descent. His grandparents came here after the end of Nazi. God damn it. His grandparents came here after the end of Nazi occupation of Narvik in Norway. That's why I was trying to get that out.
The Nazi occupation of Eastern Tennessee, I want to talk about.
It was the end of the Nazi occupation of Narvik in Norway. But however, having said that, Raymond is from the town of Lompoc, California. So he lives in Lompoc.
You just said he was from. Where'd you say he was from?
No, he said he's of Norwegian descent. Yeah. His grandparents came. You're not listening to the words that are emitting from my pie hole. He's of Norwegian descent.
Vikings.
That means the lineage. The Vikings, the Norse thunder gods. His grandparents came here after the end of the aforementioned Nazi occupation of Narvik in Norway. Narvik, Norway. Everybody knows where that is. But Raymond, is from the town of Lompoc, California. And said his friend Sal was Mexican, just to clear things up.
All right. Good to hear from you again, Raymond, however it was.
And good luck in Lompoc. And
Gorilla Monsoon used to do that when he would talk about the Rougeau brothers. Everyone, like when they got introduced in the ring, Jacques and Raymond, the Rougeau brothers. But he would call them Jacques and Raymond. Like he would always put the accent on it.
Well, because he was more, worldly and cultural and had been around these various people with these foreign accents. Did you know that Gorilla Monsoon in his spare time was an international yacht broker from Toulon, France?
Was that a place in Atlantic City?
It could have been. It might possibly have been. Anyway, and real quick, an email from Keith in Boston. And he sent this to the Drive Thru email, and you forwarded it to me also. He told us that his father, Tom, passed away last weekend. And this was about a week ago that we got the email. And we're sorry to hear that, Keith. But he asked, is there any way that Jim could dedicate a quick thank you, fuck you, bye to him? It'd give me a much needed chuckle. So for this occasion, because it was requested, yes, Keith, in Tom's honor, a thank you, fuck you, bye from all of us at the Drive Thru here.
Very sorry for your loss, Keith.
And I got, can I read you this real quick? Because this blew my mind when I've gotten some emails just out of the blue before, but remember we talked several months ago at this point, I guess it was now, about the time I stopped the match in Smoky Mountain TV when one of the Moondogs, I think it's Larry Latham, whatever, hit the fucking guy over the head with chairs so hard I thought he'd killed him, and I told Hildebrand, just ring the bell.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, I just got this email in late November that has just come to my attention. And it's from Jerry. Several times I've heard you mention an outlaw wrestler that you booked in SMW to go against the Moondogs. He was a good friend. He had worked at the Gas and Go on Buffalo Trail in Morristown. Remember what I told us? I said, I met the guy at the convenience store, kept asking me, please book me, please book me. I said, all right, I'll book you, right? This was him. It was the Gas and Go on Buffalo Trail. Anywho, he says his name was Walter. His family refers to that match as the Moondog Massacre. He had 40 stitches in the top of his head from the brace that the chair had underneath it. And so that's the thing, is I never even saw him bleeding. It was one of those things that probably just busted him open and we're gone and off the, gone to black, and they put a fucking towel over it. It was just wide instead of gory. God, Jesus Christ. But anyway, he said one of his favorite things he got to say was that he got to work for your company. Bless him and his little pea-picking heart. Walter has been gone for about 20 years now, but his family still remembers that. I just figured it was something you'd like to know. And this was 32 years ago. And he was a younger guy, so he is gone before his time. But anyway, and the last thing is, also wanted to let you know, Horner was scamming wannabe wrestlers to train. Horner hired Walter to basically body slam people for $100.
Oh, come on.
I swear to you, he said, P.S. Fuck Tim Horner. He's more crooked than the Mississippi River, in my opinion. But anyway, this is legitimate, because there's no way that this fellow could be identified as a guy that worked at the Gas and Go on Buffalo Trail in Morristown without it being a legitimate personal associate of his. So I'm sorry to hear he's gone, but I'm not surprised to hear about Horner.
Beyond all your stories about Tim Horner and the fax machine and Pam Lawson and his behavior and pretending like he owned or started Smoky Mountain, various things throughout the years, the big signal to me that, yeah, you know what? Maybe it's beyond that was when I heard he was working for Terry Landell. Like, not even in wrestling, in his office. I was like, okay.
Well, and the thing with him is, not to go off on a tangent here, he wasn't even a big time shyster, Horner. He thought small time, because he was a small town guy, and he wanted to talk about a carny. He either wanted to have attention and people think he was a big deal, or he would go to ridiculous lengths to make small amounts of money instead of thinking of the big fucking picture.
Hey, one last question on Horner, since you opened that door. considering everything you would learn and everything you would come to feel about him and see with him by the time he finished up in 94, do you look back now at any of the time, either when Smoky Mountain was first starting, but more specifically, like, let's say in the 80s? And do you think, like, there were signs of anything? Like, I should have seen that maybe I wouldn't want him so close, or whatever it may be.
Well, no, he was a fine little worker, as they used to say in the, 80s and etc. And I've told a story. I'm not going to belabor it here, but just briefly, the reason why that we let him in on it was because he came to me one time at one of the last TV tapings that we were in WCW together and said, I've got a backer. He's going to put 40 grand into, he had somebody that was going to put $40,000. Like that was goddamn going to take everybody to the promised land, even in 1991 or whatever. And he was going to try to get TV in Knoxville, and he was going to muddy shit up is what was going to happen. I was like, oh shit, we are very potentially close here to doing something. And here this fucking guy's going to come in and just last long enough to piss off a TV station or whatever. And that's when Sandy, Scott, and I both told her, here, hold on, I'm thinking about this. This was actually, I don't even know if I brought Sandy in yet. I just said, hold on, I'm talking to somebody. And whenever I get out of here, which turned out to be very shortly thereafter of WCW, I'm going to attempt to do something. And then again, I'm looking at a guy who's fairly clean cut from Morristown, Tennessee, heart of the territory. You can use this guy as a hometown guy. He's the best friend in the fucking movie. He could potentially dress up and go speak to the sponsors, again, overlooking the fact that, he would later on reveal himself to be a moron, but just somebody who could be a utility guy in this operation, never dreaming that he would actually expect to ever, be the Smoky Mountain champion or start claiming ownership or whatever the fuck he was doing in his spare time. But yeah, so I should have just let him spend the guy's 40 grand and he'd have been come and gone by the time that I fucking got revved up. But in hindsight, nevertheless.
All right. Well, this is your show.
No, it's not.
Oh, no, it's not. It's my show. And of course, Jim.
Yes.
There was a big show this past week. The Survivor Series from Petco Park in San Diego, home of the San Diego Padres. Survivor Series WarGames, the official name. Let's talk about it.
What is it? The arena in San Diego? What is the Feeders Supply Playhouse? What is it?
Petco Park.
God damn it. Again. I've got nothing against the furry little friends. I love the dogs and the cats and the squirrels and the monkeys and all the little animals, right? But it sounds like that's where you go to have a dog get together and play date. Where the Petco Park, let's go down with the dogs. It's not like a sports arena. Shouldn't they have rethought that? I know the naming rights and the sponsorships and everything, but could it have been like Petco presents the Fight Pit?
For baseball?
Something like that.
For baseball?
Petco presents the Batting Zone.
That's not bad. Petco's Batting Zone. The Batting Zone.
Batting Zone,
yeah,
yes.
That's not bad.
And then every time somebody comes in at the door, they hand them a fucking bat. Now, they got to give it back when they leave. They can't afford to just give them out every time. And it can be the Batting Zone, and goddamn things will be settled in the Batting Zone.
I don't think you want to give the general public in San Diego baseball bats to enter an arena and go to town, but there was a big show, as we were saying before, WWE, a big crowd for WarGames.
They could have given this crowd fucking bats. I don't think they'd have fucking bothered anybody. Boy, they're mild these days. So I want to talk for just a second, Brian, about how I watched this thing, because here's what I did. because now that they've gone to the new app, that I assume that's short for application or appliance, or what is that short for?
Application.
The new application. They've gone to the new application. So I had to think for a minute. I sit down at my TV and I said, which one of these things am I supposed to click on? Disney. Of course, when I think of wrestling, I think of Disney. And I click on that, and instead of popping up like it did last time, the screen pops up, we don't recognize your account. Does your household have an account? Well, goddamn, then I've got to go get Stacy. Say, does our household have an account? Yes. Well, can you tell my TV what the fucking account is? She comes in, gets the remote, and it sends her an email to her email, so with a code that she can enter into the goddamn TV to recognize our account. And then I go back to the Disney thing, and then they've got every goddamn thing on. I have to, it's not like it's just, well, here's Survivor Series. I have to go to the search thing and W and E. And then it pops up, and I can click on the replay of said Survivor Series show. And then it pops up. We have gone backwards as a species. In 1979, it was turn on Channel 3.
The other day, my daughter was home from school, and she wanted to watch the big finale of Dancing with the Stars. Never watched this show because I'm a man. But she wanted to watch it. She took over the living room for the big finale of Dancing with the Stars on Hulu. She was streaming it on Hulu. And I said, it's on Channel 7 ABC, right? She had no idea what the hell I was talking about. She doesn't know what Channel 7 is. She doesn't watch TV. Everything's streaming. I put it on Channel 7 in the kitchen. It ended 1 minute there before it did on Hulu, so I knew who won. The crocodile hunter's kid.
Can we do an old version of the Wizard Swerve on that sometime and win some money on that?
The Wizard Swerve?
I can't reveal it. I might need to use that on somebody. I'll tell you off the air. Anyway, I'm serious. That one, I'm not blowing that one. You goddamn. But nevertheless, back to this show. So once I started watching it, again, for the people who are determined to hear what they want to hear, some people are going to say, oh, goddamn, he's just blowing the WWE. And other people who want to hear a different thing will say, oh, goddamn, he just hates everything. Because I'm going to say a couple good things and a couple of bad things. And they'll filter each one out. But from the open of this show, and again, the travel log, the aerials, the drone shots, the street scenes, the goddamn, it's a network. I don't even know if network television quality is a compliment anymore. It is a state-of-the-art video production of a major event. I don't understand why everybody has to have a coffee or a fucking drink cup in their hand when they walk in a stagey way into the arena. Usually with me and the guys I was managing would walk in the arena, we looked like we'd been beaten with fucking rubber hoses. We're getting out of the car after 8 hours in the fucking summertime and the people are throwing things at us. But they went from all of the business of making the stadium look like the greatest, thing in the world. Did you watch the cold open, or do you, because here on the flip side, all this shit does take some time to show. They do a wonderful job of the production of it, but it is just, it's like watching golf in some cases. And here's the 18th green at the Masters, and they got the drone shot. Everybody's standing around with their putter in their fucking hand. But did you watch the cold open, the photographer's darkroom thing?
I did not, just because I was still getting everything ready to come sit down and watch it for a while without getting up. I saw the women's Vegas thing, but I don't know if they showed that at the beginning or when I saw that.
Oh well, I don't know about the women. If they're making some extra money in Vegas, then bless them. There's no stigma to that kind of work anymore. But I'm not talking about that. They did a cold open where it was like the photographer led you into the dark room. And they had the voiceover of the moments and the thing that you know, I can't do the cold open here, cold off top of my head, but it was a video masterpiece as far as shooting it, editing it, putting it together with the footage. They had to have the goddamn legitimate photography equipment and etc. That, you know, they just, again, it's amazing. It's fucking state-of-the-art shit. And I'm thinking, it used to be the play's the thing, right? That was, it's, the box has started overwhelming the gift on this show. This is the most state-of-the-art television production and shooting and videography and editing and technologically. And then it's like, oh, let's get the match over with. Do you have that the sizzle versus the steak ratio? Has a lot of that sizzle and smell is taken. I don't smell, but you know, the sizzle instead of the actual chewing of the meal.
Yeah, you know, you're onto something here. And I think it's something that they got away with a lot during the height of the Bloodline because of how hot things were. I mean, everything was hot. Now it's not so hot, so it appears more apparent. A lot of it's the Paul Heyman influence. A lot of it's the little, you know, I brought up the Vegas videos they've done now. Things that don't actually help the business or anything. It's about producing vibes. Giving people vibes. It's more about vibes than action. It's about being at the wrestling event as opposed to, I need to see this specific thing.
So you're saying if you've got your vibrator on the correct setting, then the actual action doesn't matter.
Well, I said Paul Heyman, maybe his vibrator. I
don't know what you know about Paul, but once again, I mean, there's no stigma to that kind of thing anymore. But
from what I understand, it looks like an old cellular phone. But I guess my point is, it's about the feeling as opposed to, you know, it's a very different way of marketing the company and wrestling, where it's about being in a moment as opposed to who's actually in that moment and what led up to it and what's happening here. And I can't wait to see this match.
But boy, they shoot it great. They just make it look wonderful. All right. We opened the show with the women's WarGames. And let me again just say this for the people who think, oh, he's going to hate all over that and everything. Women, men, you know, clowns wearing floppy shoes. If AEW wanted to take the edge off of the competitor here, the last thing that I want to see after that AEW pay-per-view was anybody else in a fucking cage. And I didn't want to see most of what they gave me of all the people in a cage. Or not the AEW pay-per-view, but the TV special the week before the pay-per-view, where they gave us another fucking cage match, and it sucked. At this point, I think they need to fucking stick the cage in the warehouse for a few years and make people just demand it again before they just... Are you sick and fed up with it's just constant?
Well, even if AEW didn't do it, the fact that it's now an annual thing, they did it in 87, they brought it back in 88, 89 was the one you were in, no WarGames in 90, 91, 92 was kind of an annual thing, I guess, from that point forward, but it's now taken over Survivor Series. 2 WarGames matches, that's half the roster. You know, it takes over Survivor Series, and, you know, they're just using it now as an annual thing, like Elimination Chamber and Money in the Bank. What do you think of the 2 different cages? AEW had an incredibly tall cage, but with a roof. Although there were holes in the side that women can crawl out of, if you remember during that match. And WWE
was like a fucking Hanna-Barbera cage. Oh, but wait, I'll just...
And WWE had their cage, no roof, which of course gives you the ability to jump off the top of it with a garbage can on your head.
Well, and that's, and we'll get to all of these things. But basically, the women's match was first of the night. And they're in the giant stadium. So the entranceway guaranteed about a 5-minute entrance for everybody.
Oh, what did you think of this year they didn't do the cage? Remember last year they had a cage and they had all the competitors in there and you had to wait for the buzzer and then you get to watch the other person leave the cage and go to the ring. This year,
oh, that's right.
No cage. Everyone was in the back and they got called out one by one.
Well, and here's how I can change with the times. Brian, mark this one down in your little black book, wherever you keep it. In the original WarGames, when it was the Horsemen versus Dusty's superpowers, whatever, the idea that those guys were all at ringside, but they were only allowed into this locked structure, first two and then one at a time, and there was nothing they could do about it but wait, and they're screaming and exhorting their guys on. It added to the tension because the people believed it, and it was clearly defined what was going on. And it was a new type of thing. So it added energy with all of them at ringside. Because the people were, if you go back, even though they weren't technical masterpieces, sometimes because of the limitations of the cage, and we'll talk about that when we get to the men's cage, I noticed something, but the point being they kept it moving, and there was such violence, and there was such animosity, there was such emotion, and there were the ebbs and flows instead of this meandering back and forth and setting up big stunts and extra gimmicks. In the original WarGames, the people were with it. If you go back and watch, Brian, am I wishful remembering? Or do you not remember the people are going, yeah, pretty much through the whole goddamn deal?
No, I was thinking about it during this event because my favorite WarGames is actually the one in 92. The Dangerous Alliance versus Sting's Squadron, where you have Sting, Nikita Koloff, Barry Windham, Dustin Rhodes, and Ricky Steamboat against Rick Rude, Steve Austin, Bobby Eaton, Arn Anderson, and Larry Zbyszko, with Heyman and Medusa at ringside or cage side. That's one of my favorite ones. That's not exactly a period of time where you think, oh, WCW was really hot. The fans were. The fans that were there were. And when you think about that, when you think about 91, the Horsemen versus all the baby faces, when you think about 89, the Samoans and the Freebirds against the Midnight Express, the Road Warriors, and Dr. Death, the fans were into those matches.
Well,
it's a different feeling for these matches, a different thing altogether.
Yeah. So in this modern situation, a lot of times some of the biggest pops are just when the fucking guy comes out. The people, oh, it's Brock. Oh, shit, it's Brock. So they should stay back in the back, because sometimes elsewise, what the fuck else is there to do? Both the women and the men in the WWE, the WarGames matches, are not going to be unprofessional, sloppy, fucking stupid, like thumbtacks and broken glass, or goddamn preposterous, dangerous shit like that. But the WWE men's and women's WarGames are going to be preposterous at points where they're having this big goddamn heated fight, and then everybody just stops because here comes a guy walking down the aisle. Which, it's a whole different fucking feel. So you're not gonna get the stupidity and the unprofessionalism and the indie shit that you get in AEW and this, but what you are gonna get is just a bunch of people doing a bunch of moves to each other in the cage until the big stars, which dominated the last match, the main event, all get in, and then they tell their story and they're done. Which would you like to be? beaten to death with a goddamn spiked club or bored to death until you fucking have to prop your eyeballs up with fucking toothpicks.
Again, not to compare this to the classic WarGames, but this was more in line with that in terms of not needing a bunch of extra gimmicks. Sure, there's a lot of moments where people are waiting around for someone to jump on them, or specific to the women's match. I remember at one point when Lash Legend came in, I was about to call her Lash LaRue. When Lash Legend came in, there was like a spot with her and Nia Jax where clearly they had planned it out in advance in their head, and then they went to do it, and it looked like two people who planned something out in their head, and you couldn't do it as well in real time as it was in your head. You didn't see that kind of stuff in the old WarGames. It was just a battle. The AEW one went way too far. So I consider this more in line with the classic WarGames, actually, than the AEW, independent version of WarGames.
Boy, I'll tell you what. I don't know whether to say this now or to save it for the men. I'll just say it now. If I, again, was the men in this particular WarGames, with every top main event star in the company in the same match, I would have, as a group, gone to Triple H or Nick Khan or whoever needs to be gone to and say, no, we're not going to go out and do this if the women are going to go out and do it an hour and a half beforehand. Because what the fuck, why?
Well, let's talk about the actual match. Yeah.
So again, Charlotte and our friend Oscar started for the first 5 minutes. And I did note that Oscar's so short, when they go to run her head into the top turnbuckle, she has to jump up to hit it. And I don't particularly like her and Charlotte's. She does a bunch of kicks and strikes, and Charlotte's trying to wrestle, and I don't think they fit. And then here came Io Sky with a custom garbage can lid with her name painted on it, that she would later on, somehow the can would show up also. But I said, this is the thing. It's a performance of aggressive parkour, as you used to call it. And I'm not just saying this for the women also. This is the vibe I'm getting. They're coming out and out of this dangerous double cage structure WarGames with custom painted garbage cans. And then she got in and Charlotte disappeared for her breather while her and Io and Oscar did the do-si-do like two children in a fucking WarGames. And then Io's laughing through the whole thing. And then Becky comes out. She's a major star. But when she comes out, Io had been on top of Oscar, and as soon as the music plays, she just let her hold go. It just got up. And Becky comes in and beats up Io with a kendo stick, which we'd never seen before. And the fans liked Charlotte against Becky. We got that for a minute. And then Alexa Bliss came in, and she and Charlotte are friends, and I zoned out. And then Kairi Sane came out with I swear to God, was the color fluorescent green or lime green, Brian? The chain, the 5 or 6 foot alleged metal chain that was painted a bright Kermit the Frog green that she came. What color would you describe?
I'm no expert in green. I couldn't tell you. You've seen plenty of green in the wrestling business, so maybe you know better.
Well, I see a lot of people that are greener than chlorophyll these days. Green as a pepper tree.
Did you see when she threw the chain down after she first used it? Even the commentator was like, I think it may have even been Michael Cole, like, why did she throw the chain down?
Yes, because she gets in and she punched Alexa Bliss in the face, allegedly, with this big old chain wrapped around her hand and then dropped it. And then Is she picked it up later on and hit Charlotte. It looked like even harder with his chain in the fade. No teeth, no blood. I'm not saying she should potato these, but it's ridiculous. And not only are the girls using chains and garbage cans and kendo sticks, but they're painted custom colors to match their ring attire. I wrote during this, I do not detect the house being torn down. And you know what? Then here came AJ Lee. And they woke up a bit for this. And this again, instead of doing the cartwheeling, fucking Ed Sullivan show routine.
Yeah, the skipping.
No, I'm talking about the match instead of doing cartwheeling and acrobatics in their match in the cage, Becky Lynch and AJ Lee bring it down to basic. Oh shit, she's coming to beat me up. And AJ didn't skip, and Becky Lynch is scared that she's coming and is holding the door. No. And so AJ climbs over the top and comes off the top on a couple of the heels and goes after Becky. And they got the crowd up because instead of, again, a bunch of girls that were just walking through performance of routine. How did you mention it? That they had pre-planned in their head, whatever you said a few minutes ago. Oh, shit, somebody's shitting their pants. Becky Lynch is scared. She's trying to climb the cage, get away. Oh, AJ's going to get a hold of her. Oh, she's beating her up. It's just some basic wrestling shit in the middle of this suddenly. And the crowd got up for that when she was ramming Becky into the cage over and over. And then the heels stopped AJ and the baby faces helped her out. And then here came the Refrigerator Jax. And she got in the ring and aggressively walked into Alexa Bliss and Charlotte with shoulder tackles. And not, am I overstating that, Brian? Is that too violent sounding when I say she aggressively walked into them?
Maybe. It may not work like that.
Then she ran her ass into him, and she's got a new outfit. She's not wearing the old thing where she looks like the fucking inflatable crash pad in the pleather. She now looks like a Starburst fruit chew factory. But she looks like she's doing well. And then here came Rhea Ripley, and now they woke up because she's the star of the show. As I believe I've mentioned on numerous occasions, people don't believe me until everybody goes, oh shit, it's Rhea. But she came out with a trash can and a bag of kendo sticks. And she wailed on the heels with the sticks and then started wrestling Becky and then beat up some of the other ones. But again, it's like they're having a hardcore match and, oh, goddamn, this cage is getting in the way. It's a hat on a hat. It's whatever we want to say. It's just, what else in the world is there to do? And then here comes the aforementioned Lash LaRue. And I got to be honest with you, she has plenty of fucking heel attitude. And she was just taking her fucking time and walking to that ring, and not a soul did they even know who the fuck she was. She's been on TV like 2 weeks, right? But usually people pop just for, oh, it's somebody coming with music. It was just like, what the fuck's happening?
No, she hasn't really been given great exposure on the main roster. She's appeared on SmackDown. She's have a tag team partner with her. And then now she's just there. She's the newbie. But she's got a great look. She's got great size.
I know. That's why I said she looks impressive. And you would think somebody would go, ooh, but it was just like, were they getting tired of this by this point? Is maybe a question I should be asking. But she got in the ring and stood there and didn't do anything for an uncomfortable second. And then she beat up everybody. And then they did a choreographed spot between her and Rhea Ripley where you didn't know who was going to win it between the Power Girls, and then old Lash got it with a kick and a 2 count, and then the fridge came in. I think she may be a bigger project than Jade was, because we saw her in NXT, 5 years ago? Is this what they've done in 5 years? She looks impressive.
Yes, she does.
Nevertheless, I don't sense a full-throated endorsement for her work from you.
She looks impressive. This wasn't exactly the right forum to show off working ability, I wouldn't think.
Well, no, but ability to goddamn look like you're not fucking lost in the middle of fucking a strange neighborhood. They might have knocked that off by this point. Nevertheless, they all did some shit. And then Oscar went to mist somebody, but misted Lash instead. She did not miss with the mist on that miss. See what I did there? And then the baby faces made the comeback, and then Io Sky climbed to the top of the cage and put the garbage can, and they had Rhea boost AJ up to hand her the garbage can so she could put it over her head. And she flipped off instead of a backflip, it was just a forward flip, just a cannonball type of thing, off the top of the cage, wearing the can onto all of the other 4 heels and other girls, ancillary girls standing around to catch her. And if it sounds preposterous, it looked like it on the broadcast, but when you see the fan cam, have you seen this, Brian? The fan cam from way up in the stands of the entire scene with the ring and her on top and everything. Have you seen that?
I did not. I did not see I did not see fan cam footage of that, no.
Well, you ought to do that on your way to speech therapy next week. Stop by and look at this footage, because they're standing there forever. This was on Twitter. You could say they're just all lined up in the middle of the ring, weebling and wobbling, looking up at this idiot with wearing a garbage can, obstructing her vision. But I think I saw her give a little signal like, move over a little to the left. From reaching from underneath the garbage can, she's peeking. But no, it's just ridiculous. To all those people there, they're seeing this, oh, we got to stand here and wait. No, now here she comes. Oh my God, she's hitting us. Fuck. And then Becky tried to climb out, but the baby faces caught her and gave her a couple of big moves, and AJ made her tap out with the Black Widow and actually went into that slicker than come on a gold tooth, as they say. Are you rustling around in your goddamn environment?
I was trying to move in my chair here. My chair's pissing me off.
What are you doing? Well, that's what. Hey, I still sat in the show was pissing me off, but I still sat in my chair to watch it. And the good girls won. Good girls won. What'd you think of the whole shebang? Well, I can see what I did there.
I thought it was all right. Again, it's a different animal. I wasn't expecting a classic WarGames, nor was it the right thing to do. They opened the show with this. You knew what they were closing with. It was more enjoyable. The AEW women's one I enjoyed. The men's one I had a problem. The women's one was such a shit show, I was endlessly entertained by it. This one I was entertained by too. Again, it's a different animal. When you know they're going to do a trash can spot, and you're waiting like a half hour. Oh, at some point, she's got to climb up that cage and do it. And then she doesn't. Even the commentator's like, everyone's been waiting for this, because that's what she's known for now, is the trash can jump. I thought she took out her own knee. If you watch the way she landed, her legs were under her. But, she seemed to be okay.
I'm just thinking in years ago, what do you think is your greatest legacy? Wearing the garbage can and jumping off the top.
I didn't see that fan cam footage, but that's the problem, because in advance they knew they were going to do this spot, and there's no way to credibly have everyone there waiting to catch the garbage pan girl unless they're all just standing there waiting. Like, you could kind of shove each other and almost take a punch, but in 2 seconds you got to turn around and look at the garbage can flying at your head.
Well, yes, and I'm sure, and it's a wonderful custom garbage can that I'm sure is free from sharp edges and all that type of thing. But still, is some fucking idiot that weighs 106 pounds, maybe, in a goddamn can of some description, coming at you from 15 feet in the air, kind of blind. And again, why? Why is fucking stupid?
I liked AJ Lee running to the cage as opposed to the skipping she always does. This was the time, do it. It's supposed to be a serious match. Yeah. That move she does, forgive me for not knowing the name. I watch a lot of this on mute because
the Black Widow, the Inoki octopus kind of
No,
thingy.
But she does it so smooth and so quick. Yes. It's beautiful to watch. It really is just incredible to watch her so quickly hit that thing, and I like that.
And kudos to Becky also, because you gotta be in the right place to get that smooth, and that was a thing of beauty on the finish there.
And Becky and AJ are both smaller girls, so them working with each other makes sense and is good because no one's too big. Rhea's a bigger woman, and now they have other women that are kind of, when I say bigger, just in terms of like muscle mass, size, height. Now all of a sudden you have
you're not going to be accused of being any more of an asshole than you are if you just come out and say she's bigger. Everybody understands it, or should understand the difference between Rhea Ripley being bigger, not being an insult to anybody's fucking body shaming or whatever.
Becky Lynch, though, I go back and forth on her because sometimes she does her promos and it almost comes across like she's, not that she's workshopped it, but she has something in her head and she's going to do it no matter what. And sometimes it doesn't feel natural. There was a promo she did on Raw this past week where she was like introing all the heels on her team. And I thought it was great. I was really into just how manic as a crazy heel she was. And I'm really enjoying what she's doing right now.
And personal issues draw money. There you go.
There you go. And that was the Trash Can Women's War Games. We'll see who Io Sky will jump on next year. But of course, Jim, when it comes to moments like trash can jumping, whether in Petco Park or any other stadium, you want to capture those moments and perhaps keep them in a frame nearby to remember that day that maybe the recycling or the trash man didn't come, but there was a girl taking out all the trash frustrations on the rest of the world. Of course, Aura frames, Jim.
What in the world? I thought when you went to the girl who was taking potentially off her clothing for the Aura frames, but then you went in a whole different direction. Folks, you don't have to take off your clothes to be a part of the Aura frame phenomenon. Know that you can put pictures of yourself fully clothed in there. See, I just told a couple of people that other thing just to see what would happen.
Hey.
But nevertheless, right now, folks, if the holidays and family go together, and if you can't be together with the family on the holidays, then the next best thing to do is have a picture of them easily and readily accessible and visible to where you can, and sometimes if you have a picture of your family members easily accessible and viewable where you want it, it can remind you how happy you are that they're not just right on top of you right now, but that there is some level of distance to provide some buffer zone. Any way you want to do it, our friends at Aura Frames have got you figured out because we've been talking about it. They have got the best-selling Carver mat frames. They've been named #1 by everybody in the world. And what it is a frame that can hold countless different photos and videos with audio, all of this type of stuff. And you can provide a slideshow. You can load your loved one's frame and send it to them, or you can get your loved one loaded later. You can send them the frame, and then you can send them pictures from your phone and your various devices of things that everybody's got these security cameras up their ass. Send grandma security footage of somebody sneaking into little Heidi's bedroom window late at night. It's her boyfriend.
Again, these may not be the best examples.
About these things.
Boyfriend. These may not be the best examples we can use for photos that you'd want to display in your house, on your frame. Grandma needs to know
what's going on with the family. Just feed grandma the security video of your garage.
Just
right there, and she'll know what's going on with the whole family.
Listen, feed grandma. That's a separate interactions. Feed grandma. Do that, but also get a wonderful frame for yourself or her family members like grandma as a gift this holiday season. These are spectacular. We have a couple here in the house. Of course, I brought it up before, my favorite feature, Jim. When you turn off the lights in the bedroom, they shut themselves off so you don't have that glare of the photos. But wonderful, beautiful frames.
Yes, they go into hiding. They can still see you, of course, with the infrared camera.
They don't see you. Don't tell people that. There is nothing that's going to be watching you except yourself in your own inner mind. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, these frames are spectacular. They also play live videos. Live photos as videos. They play things. Here's Jim Cornette.
And another journey to the center of the mind. Yes, folks, and right now you can save money because, like I said, you can do all these things and more that your little hearts and devious minds can devise of with the frames from Aura Frames, and you can share these lovely things with all members of your family and my lovely wife, Stacy, and her mother and her nephew, not her mother's nephew, but Stacy's nephew. You know what I'm saying. They're all hooked up for these things. And they can see the various pictures back and forth and share them and change them and pet them and hug them and call them George. You can too, because for a limited time, you can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com, A-U-R-A, auraframes.com, and get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver mat frames by using the promo code JCE at your checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code JCE, $35 off. The frame's going fast, and we're into December now, so if you don't want to be left with a picture of Diddle Squat for presents for the holidays, well, jack your ass into gear. And $35 off. That's not, right there, $35 could feed a homeless department store Santa Claus for at least 3 days, if you look at it that way.
Once again, a fine gift, a fine product, one that we love here in this house. I know they're big fans of it at Castle Cornette. Aura Frames. Jim, one more time, that wonderful promo code.
It is JCE.
That's right, auraframes.com/JCE. All right, Jim, a lot of drama building to this point in the show.
You woke me up with that one.
We're back at the Survivor Series Petco Park and a big match. We were wondering what was going to happen for the Intercontinental Championship. John Cena defending against Dominic Mysterio.
Well, I guess I was wrong when I said I bet you Cena's going to drop it to Gunther on the Saturday night's main event. I was wrong about that. Maybe they got bigger fish for Gunther to fry. But I mean, there was parts of this match that I liked, parts that I understood why they were initially doing it. And by the time that it was over, it became, after it had turned into an Andrew Lloyd Webber production on Broadway or whatever, with everything just comes to a halt it was interesting, very interesting. They obviously thought that people were going to stage some kind of riot and cheer Dominic in his hometown and boo Cena out of the building. I would imagine that's why they constructed this as they did when they sent Dominic out with Rochelle and Roxanne Perez right off the bat. And they milked Cena's music for quite some time, to the point where you thought, are they going to swerve us? What the fuck is going on? And then they hit the music and the place blew. And I'll tell you, when they showed Cena's entrance, they had people on the floor all the way back to the back, didn't they? And all the way around in the bowl or whatever, because they had like 6 feet in between the video wall and the barricades. But he's having fun, and he got lots of pops, and he got the thank you chants and all that stuff. And then they start, and the very first spot is he hits the ropes, and Roxanne Perez trips him. And Dominic takes over. And I thought, okay, they sent the girls out so that, Dominic would have the heat magnets at ringside, and that would, help establish him more as a heel. And then, not too long afterwards, Rochelle got up on the apron of the ring and just leveled Cena with a fucking punch. And Dominic's healing like crazy. I mean, his body language and taunting the people, and okay, they're establishing that. And then when Cena fired back and Dominic bailed, the girls distracted him, and Dominic stopped him again and beat him up on the floor a little bit. But I wrote at that point, they're having a spot show match. They're doing almost nothing but working the people, and the crowd is loving it. So this is not bad. Although right then, that's when Dominic does the Hurricane Rana off the barricade and lands straight on his head. Was he just trying to take the piss out of Penta with that? Do you think that they did it this week? That specific thing? It was in the news, at least. But then, are you with me so far, Brian? On where they're building up a thing nicely. They're getting the heat. They're having some fun. Nothing out of the way so far.
I'm with you. Let me just say here in advance, this is my favorite match of the night. And I know there's plenty of problems with different things in it, but I enjoyed this by and large more than any other John Cena match I've seen in his comeback or his retirement year. And I'm with you on what you've been saying so far. And of course, that's what I figured too. That's why the women are there. They're there to give Dominic the edge he would need, clearly, against a John Cena. I mean, look at Dominic, look at John Cena. Dominic's a main event heel, not because he's pretending to be a Hulk. He needs a way to get to Cena.
Right. And I will say that I think, who was it? Cena and AJ. Athletically, Cena, that was probably his best in-ring match, but this one had more flavor, more seasoning, more issue, more heel babyface dynamic. So I see again where you're going, and I was going there. And they do the spot where he lands on his head, and the referee checks him, and they stall, and they call for the medic, and the doctor's checking him. And I'm thinking, I know although he took a nice looking bump if you were going to claim injury. And by the way, Dominic, 87750 Steve, if it starts nagging you. But they're losing their momentum here. I knew it was going to be a subterfuge. But then in the ring, while the medics and everybody, they're checking on Dominic, Rochelle gives Cena her fucking finish, the big power bomb thing. And then Perez gives her finish thing to him. Doesn't pick him up, but you know what I'm saying. But now the girls are just fucking flinging Cena around. And then Dominic popped up and ran in and gave him a 619 and a big fucking splash. But the referee wouldn't count it because you tricked me, you prevaricator.
Well, let me stop you there because you just recapped a lot. Let's break it all down because this was one of the more interesting parts of the match here. The injury on the floor. Did you buy it at all? I bought it. I thought, okay, something happened because they were playing it out so well, but you could tell something was wonky.
Well, at first when he landed on his head, I said, that didn't look good. But then the longer that it was, as soon as the girls did the spot, I'm like, okay, he's
Right.
fine. But it looked like he was good because that's again an old trope is the word the kids use these days, but to me, it lost some momentum there, but it got the pop when he came in and blah, blah, blah. And that got the referee to kick the girls out of ringside.
Because, one of my first thoughts was, I always think back to like Terry Funk when Mick Foley got hurt in the Hell in a Cell. He knew he had to do something with The Undertaker just to give them time to figure out if Mick was alive. I was like, okay, maybe that's what they're doing here, but obviously that wasn't it. Do you have a problem with Raquel doing a move to Cena and very differently, and a very different kind of move? Any issue with Roxanne doing almost like a Canadian Destroyer? I forget the exact name of it, but doing a flipping move onto Cena.
The sunset flip power bomby thingy. But first of all, as soon as I saw the doctors go to check on Dominic and they were doing hand gestures like they were concerned, I'm like, okay, a little thing, but that was the tip off. And then with the girls running in and doing the spots, then okay, he's fine. But I can understand. How about one of them? How about both of the girls do one thing, or Cena had been bending over trying to get up, and the girl flips over him, or whatever the fuck. But I know Raquel is a large lady, but just picking him up and flinging him around. But he's trying to be generous on his way out. But then that sparked his comeback. And the "you can't see me" and etc. And then Dominic had unzipped his boot, like he was going for the boot gimmick, but Cena grabbed his foot and pulled it off and was surprised. So Dom hit the 619 and another splash and got a 2 count, and then put his boot back on. And Cena hit an AA and got a 2 count. And then they bumped the referee. And again, Cena goes for the tackle and Dominic ducked, I believe, right? And he shoulder tackled the referee is what he did, correct?
Yeah. And again, it plays into the fact that the referee had a larger than usual role in this match, refusing to count the 3 for Dominic when he had Cena. What did you think of that?
Well, that wasn't bad because that gave the heel a bit of a gripe, but at the same time, the referee was naturally say, "You suckered me. You played me with this, with this bullshit. They playing possum and get your girls out of here." That I could go for, but the referee, but it was a shoulder tackle on this bump, is what I'm trying to say. They have basically. The referee is going to be paralyzed for the next 3 to 4 minutes from an errant shoulder tackle. And again, we go into the musical number in fucking, Oklahoma, where everything comes to a stop and they do their business. And in all this time in a pay-per-view match, no other referee has been, hey, fucking Joe's down, Bill, get the fuck out there. Anything. It just, even if you could just make it a little more convincing that the referee needs to stay down for 3 fucking minutes. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
It bugs me. I was taught finishes where everybody is supposed to be accounted for and legitimately involved in something to where they're not going to look like fucking dicks.
Well, you see, Eddie Graham never had that problem in his intricate finishes of stopping for a production midway through it.
Well, anyway, so now the referee's gone. And Cena gets the fucking STFU, and here comes JD and Finn. And they start beating Cena up, but then Cena turns it around and beats them up. And he gives both of them the AA. But Dominic gets the title belt and rolls in. And now I wrote the referee's been down for 3 minutes. And they're still going. Dominic takes his time. Swings a fucking belt. Cena ducks. Hits him with an attitude adjustment. Now Cena's calling for a referee. Imagine that. But music plays. And it's Liv Morgan. Because I guess, fucking The star of the play was booked, for heaven's sake. It could have been, Rita Moreno or somebody dancing down in the high heels.
What?
Well, this is Broadway now. We've stopped having our match. The match is we'll do that here in a minute. It's all fucking showbiz.
Big pop for Liv, who hasn't been seen since she hurt her shoulder, and no one knew when she was going to come back. But I got to say, I didn't hear anyone bring her up in the conversation around this match, so it was a surprise.
Well, and she and Dominic have had a thing, but Dominic's out there with 2 other women. So I wonder if Dominic's thing has come between them. But anyway, go ahead.
Who is stronger? Who is stronger than Dominic's shoot wife? Putting up with the way he's been booked in a relationship with Rhea Ripley, in a relationship with Liv Morgan, who's all over him on TV. Whatever's going on with him and Roxanne. Meanwhile, he's got a wife at home watching this.
Well, wait a minute. How old is Dominic now? Do you remember?
I don't remember. 28?
You just did the age thing. So he's 20. Let's say he's 28. His wife has access to his bank book. I'm sure she is fucking fine with everything. But nevertheless, there's Liv and Dom looking at each other. Face to face, they faced each other. And then she swung at him and missed his head, but he sold the shit out of it anyway, but it actually works with what they're about to do. But he went down like Tyson had hit him. And then Liv jumped up in Cena's arms and gave him a big hug, and then he put her down, and then she kicked him right in the balls. Swerve!
A couple of things here. She didn't hit Dom in the best way, which, considering what happened, makes sense. But secondly, she jumped into Cena's arms, and you kind of buy it because she's crazy. And this is after Cena's awful acting, while her and Dom are having their moment in the ring, and they're good at it. Cena doesn't know how to, just be there, so he puts on the droopy dog face and, points and, doesn't know how to react, and
He looked like Jim Varney ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah, that's exactly, actually, now that I think about it, what he would have looked like. And that's what it looked like, ladies and gentlemen. Ernest watches Dom and Liv. He didn't know how to react, so Liv jumps on him. This is the best thing about the whole thing. This was the comeback. This was the payback. This was the return to the look Cena gave The Rock when he hugged Cody, and you saw that face drop. She jumps into Cena's arms, and the camera's right on her face the same way it was on Cena's, and you see her eyes. Her eyes were never as bright blue as they were on this day, folks. And there she was, and you knew the turn. It was a
dark and stormy night.
You knew the turn, or not even a turn. You knew that she hadn't turned. She was still with Dom. The heels were still together, those good old heels. And that to me was the funniest thing. That was the same thing that Cena did to Cody, and it's never been done again over the rest of the year. This was the only other time. It wasn't anything to seal the storyline with The Rock and end that. No, that just died.
I was about to say, The Rock had nothing to do with it, and it may never be seen again. Who fucking knows?
There were some major stars this year that were involved in programs that started and just never ended. The Rock's thing with Cena and Cody disappeared. Travis Scott disappeared. Jeff Jarrett's retirement year program, that thing started and just completely fucking disappeared.
He was gone in February.
There's a lot of stars who had programs start and vanish in the same year, but I thought that was interesting. They did that here, and Liv's a big star. Dominic's a big star. I'm kind of happy they're not going to break them up.
Well, but then after the balls were kicked, Dominic hit another 619, and Liv hit Cena over the head with the title belt, and Dominic splashed him. And then the referee, after about 4 or 5 minutes, oh shit, 1, 2, 3. So, and now Dominic is again the Intercontinental Champion. I don't have anything wrong with that. So basically, he beat Cena in Cena's hometown, and then, let me try that again. Cena beat, you know what I'm saying, the hometowns each hometown they won in. I don't know how to say it. I'm so flustered. But it's just all of these things happening in the same match. It just a little preposterous, is it not? A little overdone? Too many ingredients in the broth?
See, I recognize that. This is my favorite Cena match of the last year, and that's with the caveat of there's a lot of things. There's way too much that was in this match. There are some things that are ridiculous. The amount of time the referee was down didn't bother me as much just because I'm a little more used to that. The referee refusing to count the pin was a cool moment. The fans were more into this match than anything else on the whole show. And it figures.
Yes.
And it figures considering who was in it, these two guys. But I really like this match. And someone's going to say you're inconsistent because you criticize things with like, whoever, Riho or something, and Roxanne Perez hit that move on Cena. You're right. Roxanne Perez shouldn't have hit that move on Cena. I have no problem with her tripping him. I got a problem with her hitting Canadian destroyers on him, or whatever the fuck that is. But I enjoyed this. Cena's bad acting, again, that would take down any segment, but it kind of works here. I enjoyed this more than any other John Cena match on this comeback, and a lot of that's specifically because of how good Dominic is. Dominic's matches are enjoyable. The moment where he got injured, whatever you thought, you're a professional. You could tell by the reaction in the room, they didn't know what to think. So when he hopped up and got on Cena, they reacted big. And they reacted big to everything in this match. And again, a lot of smoke and mirrors. You get the big Liv Morgan return. But I enjoyed the hell out of this. I really did.
I will give you that it was the most exciting thing on this show. And I would like, again, part of it was this is the county fair in Muhlenberg County, basic wrestling at the start, but then just over and over, it's guest stars and people coming in to. Oh, well, but now.
Wait, hold on. If I could ask you a couple things, what do you think of them not breaking up Dom and Liv? Because a lot of people assumed when they went to the Roxanne Perez joining Judgment Day thing that they were setting it up to perfectly have Liv Morgan come back. Now what's happened to Rhea Ripley has happened to her with the same guy. It would make sense. That's not where they went. I mean, they may still do something with her and Roxanne, but they didn't break up her and Dom, and I think that's the right move, and I almost feel like in years past they would have immediately had her come back and turn her babyface.
But no, now's the time because she's already over. So now's the time for her to come back, and everything with her and Dom is just like it was before, and Roxanne ain't happy about that. And Roxanne can become a backstabbing home wrecker. See, wait a minute, she's back now. I got to do something as she rubs her hands together, and then you could put more focus on Roxanne.
Oof. Well, again, a good match. Dominic Mysterio, the new Intercontinental Champion. We'll see what happens in the fallout on WWE Raw. But Jim?
Yes.
There were more matches, but before we get there, no better time than now to talk about music.
None better.
John Cena, known for his hip-hop sounds, known for his one album, known for the one song on the one album that's been played nonstop for 25 years. Folks, we're talking about good music. You need to be able to hear them somehow. We know a way. We love them in our house. You'll love them in yours with Raycon.
You mean to tell me that on the Raycons you can hear the hip hop, hip hop, you don't stop for rocking to the bang bang boogie, say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat, that stuff?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, in that case, you know what you need, not just the
I need a color TV so I could see the Knicks play basketball. We could do this all day, man. Let's go.
Hear me talking about checkbook, credit card, more money than a sucker could ever spend. Folks, if you are looking for Raycons, not just any old Raycons, but the essential open earbud Raycons that even Big Bank Hank uses. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you what, when they arrived at the Castle Cornette here via special independent courier, and I took them in and handed them to Stacy. Of course, I'm under instructions to always hand over all the Raycon stuff to Stace. She's, oh, yes. Because these are the ones with the gimmick over the ear. So you don't stick it in your ear, you hang it over your ear. And that way, the regular earbuds, they block out everything. So it's like the car that's bearing down on you, or the child that's screaming, I'm drowning, mother.
What?
Well, these sit outside your ear canal, so you can hear that as well as your music. So at the same time as you're pulling your kid out of the pond, you can be grooving to the beat.
Again,
It's the open ear design, breathable fit, comfort, safety,
now this part's
and
true.
immersive audio while keeping you aware.
Yes.
With a multi-angular hook. The rotating ear hook ensures a secure, personalized fit for any activity.
And let's say, as opposed to the no-angle hook, and that's on Dynamite.
Well, that's true, but also these hooks actually make money. And here's something else for any activity. Let's say you want to unstop a drain. You just bend this ear hook a little multi-angularly and you stick it down in there. You pull out that big hunk of hair.
Well, there it is. The moment that we've been waiting for. We have to remind everyone that's not what these are intended to be used for or how they're intended to be used.
Well, see, they've got all kinds of uses. I mean, sometimes if you put these in a slingshot just right, you can peg somebody right in the eye and bing.
Let's not
put somebody's eye out with that type of thing.
Don't do that. Don't hurt anyone. Don't say where you heard that idea. But of course, folks, we're talking about what you can hear.
Yes.
And you can hear lots of musical ideas. Yes.
Ooh, music. They're lightweight. With the flexible ear hook, which adapts to any ear, even, the feather bottoms with their issues, they were able to they had to rig it up with a zip tie, but they got it around that one ear. They've got the multi-point connectivity and 36 hours of battery life. So you get days of nonstop listening. It's the essential open earbuds as opposed to the everyday earbuds that we've talked about in the past. And they're here for the holiday season and they're selling fast. And then once the holidays are gone, you don't know. They may be gone because then people are back to being just deaf and completely dumb, stupid, and unaware of their surroundings. You can run them down in the streets with complete freedom and not worrying about them actually hearing you coming.
There's plenty to worry about. But what we want to stress to you is that some of the examples used in this commercial read may not be approved for home consumption.
I'm just telling you that normally people around the holidays are a little more aware, and then they go back to their own stupid, self-absorbed ways, and they either get run over.
No, they go back to their ways. They go back to their ways.
They fall in the fountain.
The fountain of life. Yes.
These Raycons, if you do not pay attention to where you are and fall in the fountain, they won't fall out of your ears. But it's not recommended that you submerge them for more than 30 seconds to a minute.
You don't have any idea what any submerging recommendations are. This is ridiculous.
If you're underwater long enough that when you come out, you're kind of dizzy and they need to pump anything on you, chances are the earbuds are going to be fucked too.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about all of our days on average on land, maybe even in air. But wherever you are, you want that music safely to go with you, Jim.
Yes.
Without any other examples, because I think the listeners get the idea.
Without any further ado, whether you're on land or way high in the air, the higher you are, the better you like the Raycons, the essential open earbuds, and the Raycon audio products are up to 20% off this holiday season if you go to buyraycon, BUYRAYCON, buyraycon.com/JCE Open to save on the Raycon audio products. As I said, up to 20% off with that code JCE Open at buyraycon.com. And that way, if you make it after the holidays and you want to take a chance walking down the street with the old-fashioned kind,
there's never been a better time than now, is what Jim's trying to say, ladies and gentlemen. Raycon, and once again, that promo code, buyraycon.com/JCE Open. And Jim, before you close us down, why don't we move on with the Survivor Series, a big match For the Women's Championship, the champion Stephanie Vaquer versus Nikki Bella.
Woo! Boy. I'll tell you what, and here's another thing. They go from 10 women in 2 cages with weapons and garbage cans and everyone diving about. Then they go down to 2 guys, but one of them's the biggest star in the history of the recent world, and they have 2 girls out there and other people interfere. And now we just got 2 girls. And one of them is Nikki Bella. Ooh. Awkward is a because remember I've said I don't remember I've ever seen a Bella match, so I watched as much of this as I could stomach, and now I've seen a Nikki Bella match. She's got plenty of heel attitude. She's dripping with that. Her work is abysmal. Was this a John Laurinaitis Gold Club hire originally, or what?
I believe she did actually go through developmental with her sister and FCW, and she was obviously on the main roster for a long time, but also during that transition period from divas to women's wrestlers.
Well, again, she's got the attitude of a veteran heel with the way that she was carrying herself, and everything she does look fucking half-ass as shit. And Stephanie was trying. I think Stephanie needs to quit the short headbutts. Just the same thing I told Jacob Fatu, even though, yes, I believe his head is harder than hers, but she's just headbutting people 3 or 4 times and then they're going to something else and she's not acknowledging. Nobody's acknowledging it. Just a little thing. I thought in this match, Stephanie made a comeback. It wasn't. Did people care about this unless they did the thing where they put the head scissors on and the old bump it to the face? What are they calling it now? The devil's kiss? It's been around since the fucking 40s.
I think everyone was waiting for the ass spot, yeah.
And that's the ass spot. Well, really, it's more of a
double ass spot.
You can just look at the asses.
It's 2 asses.
It doesn't affect the asses. Neither ass is taking any punishment. Normally, the old atomic drop, if you call it ass bump, that's because you take a bump on your ass. But now neither ass is being punished. It's just that you get a clear view of.
Precisely.
Okay. I wrote, this won't end. It hasn't been long, but it seems like it. They did some more face bumpy stuff, and then Stephanie went to the top and did a flipping moonsault and 1, 2, 3, and Bella was kind enough to squirm a little bit more into place and look like she was a fucking tighter than the skin on a hot dog waiting to see where that girl was going to land.
That can't be easy to lay there knowing that's coming.
I wouldn't be. Again, there's no reason to add the twisting pike maneuver like they're at the U.S. Open Diving Championships, but that's where we are these days. And the finish just kind of came out of nowhere, and then it was over. The end. Have I missed anything?
No, I think you covered that match, and there's nothing more I could add to that match. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching.
Yes, thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. And then just to show that we're all full of shit, they announced the new Survivor Series record crowd of 46,016 people. What? They're just coming to see the stars make their big entrance and do their big move, and then okay, next. Is that what we've come to here?
It's a whole different world. I watched the other day the first little bit because my son wanted to see it because I got him some wrestling figures recently of Survivor Series 87, the first one, Rosemont Horizon, Thanksgiving Day. These people, after whatever they ate, were so fired up and so loud for everything that Jesse Ventura and Gorilla Monsoon got one of the loudest pops of the night coming out. It was incredible. They were hot for everything. That ain't the case anymore. It's, you're hot for moments. You're waiting for moments. In WWE, the moments will be theatrical. And it'll happen typically at the end of a match, sometimes in the match, sometimes the middle of the match. You're waiting for that. With AEW, it's more just about moves, just nonstop moves. With WWE, it's still got this theatrical bent, and when things hit, they hit well, and when things don't, they don't.
So basically, it's kind of like your bowels. It just depends on which way they move.
Big crowd, I guess that's the point.
The big crowd. And then we came to the main event on the 4-match card that drew this goddamn 40 cents, more than 10,000 people a match. We should start breaking that down now. Like, okay, if they drew 40,000 people, they had 5 matches, that's 8,000 people per match, and see what the per match average is. I wonder how far ahead they'd be with that. And again, as I said before, this is all the top talent in the company, almost pretty much everybody. They should have all gone and said, look, fuck. Give them their own goddamn pay-per-view. We're not going to go out and do the same kind of goddamn matches the girls have just done an hour and a half ago. But they didn't. So they did. And the very first thing out of the gate, come on, Mussolini, going into KG, wearing a jacket that says Larry's dad.
Oh, God, just stop.
Did you see that? That was so cute.
Yeah, that was Larry's fine. Your singing is a whole nother level of awful.
A whole nother level. See, I'm glad you admit that my singing is a whole nother level.
Of awful.
Jace, if you would clip that audio.
No, you better not. You better not.
Play that whenever I need to remind him of what he said. So we get Punk and Braun Breaker, the first 2 guys. And he put Braun's strength over, but a few times Punk out-quicked him. But then Braun would hit the suplexes, et cetera, et cetera. So at least they're trying to establish this thing. And then here comes Drew McIntyre. And of course, he and Punk hate each other. So he gets in a fight with Punk, and Braun and Drew double team Punk. And I don't know whether this was, oh golly, we've caught you accidentally type of blood. Or, well, they're not supposed to get blood, but things happen. I don't know how the blood happened, but Punk was bleeding somewhat. Cody, when he came out, hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Well, no, I'm not actually. Cody was next out anyway, but Cody had got busted open for real the other night on television, so he had a cut that could realistically have just through exertion. But anyway, we got a little blood in this thing, as opposed to enough to transfuse the entire goddamn landing invasion of Omaha Beach that we got on the AEW show. But again, Cody being out next, the star power is they've got Drew, they've got Breaker, they've got Punk, now Cody's out. And Drew tried to hold the door closed, so Cody climbed up and came off the top of the cage with a crossbody. And a big comeback. And as he's doing that, he back elbows Punk by mistake. And there's a minute there where they're like, what the fuck? But they continue to work together. And then that's when one thing we said at the top of the show, and I said I'd talk about it during the men's match, when you mentioned that this cage was lower, AEW's was higher, had the roof like the original WarGames did. This one doesn't. When Punk and Cody did the Doomsday device on Braun Breaker, did you see him land on his head?
Oh, yeah. I was afraid he was hurt just like Dominic earlier.
Well, and the
And he was still selling it after the match, if you notice, too.
Yes, because this was not a planned playing possum spot in the match. He landed on his fucking head, and I bet it rung his bell, but that was what happened to J.J. Dillon in the very first WarGames match, July the 4th, 1987, in the Omni in Atlanta, with J.J. and the Horsemen against Dusty and his baby faces. The one they were going to beat was J.J., obviously. That's everybody wants to see it anyway. But when they gave him the Doomsday device, I think Hawk, because of the roof on the cage, Hawk had to change trajectory because it was too low, and JJ was worried about his feet hitting. Point being, because the roof was too low, JJ landed just like Braun Breaker did here and separated his shoulder and had to have surgery. And that's why the second WarGames at the end of the Bash Tour that year, that was in Miami at the Orange Bowl, originally, JJ would have been involved in that one too, but since he'd had surgery, that's why Dusty brought Bubba Rogers back from the UWF, where he'd sent him out in Oklahoma,
the War Machine,
to be the masked War Machine.
Yeah.
Because they had to, and the rib was the day they announced him on Atlanta TV as the War Machine taking JJ's place. Bubba was, as I said, in the UWF, had to fly from Dallas to Atlanta, get a cab to the TBS studio, put the bodysuit and the mask on, stand behind JJ and the Horsemen while they did the interview announcing him, and then get back in the cab and go back to the airport and fly back to Dallas. They just, that was the only thing he fucking did. Just fly out there to stand there in that fucking outfit. And then they beat him in the WarGames in Miami, but never told anybody who he was. Anyhow, we hope that Braun doesn't suffer any lingering effect, but he landed on his head. That's the safest way for a Steiner to land. And then here came Logan Paul. And Logan Paul and Cody do their spot where they sit and fight on the top of the cage. But Braun hit him with a chair and broke that up. And the heels got heat on Cody and Punk. And then Jimmy Uso came out. And poor thing, to try to get him some kind of pop, he got to be the one to slide the Slim Jim table into the cage, and then they didn't even use it. They waited another 20 minutes or whatever, but more heat by the heels. Jimmy didn't make much of a difference. Miscellaneous fighting. Again, this is a lot of guys at this point. There's shit laying there. Shit you got to walk around or try to figure out a way to use or a reason not to use or just wander around. There's no sustained. And they're doing 3 minutes now, aren't they? Instead of 2?
I think so.
So it's more, it's longer. It's
less matches needed.
Bronson Reed came in and splashed Punk and splashed Uso and splashed Cody. And the heels beat him up some more.
I don't know if it just stood out because of the cage or if he just did it special on this night. Did you see how high up he was getting on those splashes?
I think it's he always does that, but it's possibly the visual of the cage behind him when he's in the air that makes it look even higher. But no, that boy bouncy. Him and Javon, that'll be the next tag team. Javon Evans and Bronson Reed, they call him the number 10. That's what they'll look like when they walk down the street next to each other. Anyway, then here came Jey Uso. And then he makes his awkward, I'm not going to call it a comeback, I'm going to call it a yeet back. They play his music, he gets in the ring, he has to do the punch that's one half of a beat off and the whole thing, awkward yeet back. And then he and his brother team up and do the team super kicks. And then They restarted his music so everyone could yeet more while the match just came to a complete halt. It's the fucking WarGames. Is it Brian, have you ever seen the movie The Longest Day?
I'm not sure.
There's a reason why it wasn't a musical. It was about the goddamn invasion of Normandy. They didn't stop in the middle of it to run the entrance music back and have a dance off.
You know, there's a reason why you're seeing more pushback to the push of Jey Uso from WWE fans now more than ever before. I think a lot of people are sick of this. And again, doing it in the WarGames, to me, was the worst moment of the night.
Well, anyway, and that was a pretty stiff competition there for a while. So then, as everything was standing stock still, music, it's Brock Lesnar. And he didn't fall down this time. With Paul Heyman, he comes, and they gave the statistic, and this is actually one of the cool statistics instead of just the meaningless ones. The first time in 21 years Brock Lesnar has been in a tag team match.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He was always used as a single attraction. And anyway,
you know, speaking of him falling down, I just saw the clip the other day of him and Shelton and OVW flipping over the ropes, and Shelton landed and Brock went down.
Yes, that's like, imagine, folks, the buckshot lariat thing that Hangnail Page does, where he springs over the top, lands on his feet. Shelton and Brock had both been doing that in practice. So that's the way they decided they were going to have a snazzy entrance into the ring with their tag team partners, is they're going to both do that. And Shelton, he actually over-rotated. When he landed on his feet, he was still going forward, so he just walked right up and went nose to nose with, it was Rob Conway or whoever he was going to work with. Whereas Brock didn't get quite far enough, and his feet hit, and he landed on his ass, and then he spun around and jumped up to his feet and started doing springy jumps like nobody saw that. And so somebody had tweeted that clip, and I retweeted it. I said, this proves that OVW TV was 25 years ahead of its time. And it got like several thousand of the little Hardy things. But some people are like, what do you mean? This is just developmental. They didn't get the goddamn joke. But when Brock came in, he suplexed every fucking body. It was a one-man wrecking crew. And then he F5'd everybody. And it was basically Brock beating people up for the next 3 minutes. And that woke him up again. People are, oh, shit. And then finally, here comes Roman's music. And Brock gets out of the cage, and there's another thing. They had to do this stuff down on the floor because they hadn't broke a desk yet. So Brock met him in the aisleway, but Roman came up with 3 big Superman punches in the ringside area, and then went for another big one, and Brock scooped him up and F5'd him through the announce desk. And now the WarGames could begin.
Was that the way it was, though? Wasn't it? Was the entire match the WarGames, and then that was the match beyond?
Or was originally, yes. And originally, that's why that the individual guys coming in intervals and who would have the advantage, those in Dusty's mind, who would have the numerical advantage, I should say, that gets to have the 2 against 1 and 3 against 2. Those in Dusty's mind were the WarGames, because the people were playing WarGames, jockeying for position. And then as soon as all guys were in the ring, that's when, again, the match beyond would start, and it could only be ended by submission or surrender. And that's why they was originally advertised WarGames, the match beyond. And then now, they've taken their liberties, but nevertheless, it can only be, it's still consistent. It can only begin when all 10 guys get in. But usually nobody had been thrown through fucking tables before nevertheless. So then boom, 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 the baby faces started firing up, and Punk hit a go to sleep, and Cody hit a crossroads on Brock, and Logan Paul saved him. And then Paul handed too many Pauls, pal. Paul Heyman handed Logan Paul his brass knuckles, and Logan Paul knocked out Cody and Uso. But then Roman speared Logan, that is, and took the knucks away. And Superman punched Drew, and Superman punched Bronson Reed, and speared Braun Breaker. And then they did actually a nice spot where Brock was going to F5 one of the Usos, whichever it was, and Roman speared both of them through the fucking table. And anyway, it's all the top guys. They're doing all their top moves. They're kicking it up. So they got it going now. And then Braun stopped Roman and Uso and speared Cody and missed Punk. And suddenly a guy dressed all in black, which has never been done before, climbs over the top of the cage. And he hits Punk with a super kick and a curb stomp, and then climbs out of the cage. Brian, am I being picky with another thing that the whole idea of the cage in wrestling since the dawn of time was to keep people in, keep other people out, depending on what you were trying to sell, what the psychology was of the match? This motherfucker's not going to be able to escape. He's in a cage, or his friends aren't going to help him because we're in a cage. Everybody, the girls, everybody, the referees just climbing this thing down, in, back, out. Does this help the situation?
Again, it's about the moment and the questions and people wondering who it was and why were they impersonating Rollins. They overlooked the fact that, the whole idea of the WarGames was these guys are in here. They can't get out until there's submission or surrender. Also, no one can come in, because if the masked guy could come in, or the hooded guy, why can't everyone else? If that guy could just run in and climb the cage and do a move and get out, what's to stop any other wrestler, let alone any other fan, from doing the same thing?
Half the guys in this match came out or got in it by fucking climbing. I think a couple of the girls did. So so the guy in black does that, and he leaves, and Braun spears Punk 1, 2, 3. And I believe that we'll see, good Lord willing, and a creek don't rise, as Aunt Lola used to say. It'll be Punk and Braun Breaker for the title at WrestleMania. The guy in black, from what we are being led to believe, and we will find out possibly by the end of this podcast we're doing, if Raw intervenes, but it's allegedly Austin Theory, which makes sense because Heyman, that's the only young superstar, budding guy with talent to be a superstar that they're ignoring right now, and Heyman would want him if the speculation has been that he's not a mental incompetent and they've just been punishing him because he was Vince's guy or whatever. That'll be the best place for Theory with Heyman. And then after the baby faces were licking their wounds when the heels had already gone off to the victory party, Roman told Cody they would not be teaming again, is what I heard, as they were going off the air and the announcers were trying to awkwardly stay silent so we could hear what we were supposed to hear.
You brought up, you think Punk and Braun at WrestleMania. What do you think of the rumors going around that'll be Cody and Roman? Cody and Roman 3 at WrestleMania.
I wouldn't be surprised because of what they've just said here, but I don't know how excited I am about it. Do you?
I think Cody's needed something new for a while. I'm kind of sick of the Usos. And that ties in with Roman, who appears every now and then and does his slow walk to the ring. They'll have to do something to heat that program up. Hopefully it does not involve The Rock. But who knows? But
I'd like to see Cody and Orton. But I guess that's SummerSlam.
Well, we'll see. I don't even know where Orton is right now. But that was Survivor Series at Petco Park. Jim, after Survivor Series, a moment a lot of people are talking about. I don't know how much of the post-show you got to see, if any. It was actually quite the spectacle because they now do this outdoor thing akin to ESPN or other live athletic events where Joe Tessitore and I think Peter Rosenberg was with him and Big E. They're out there as the fans are leaving. They're all behind them. It looked like Woodstock. It looked like they had about 40,000 people out there for this. And Heyman and the heels, Heyman and Logan and the Bronze, them hamming it up in the heel way on that stage in front of all those people was incredible. But there's a moment going around on video that was not.
Well, I was about to say I needed context because I've seen what you're going to talk about, but I didn't know it was them going to the post-show. To the post-show set or appear as a part of the post-show. They're on the way to that, correct?
The post-show podium, I guess we could say, but...
Post-show podium.
A young fan, at least based on appearance, tried to rush towards Paul Heyman, maybe to get a hug or a wallet. Who knows?
No, I tell you what, it looked like he was thrilled to see the fucking, the penguin in person, and he was running up to give him the big hug around his waist.
Well, you always have to be careful that fan doesn't have an umbrella or something, but Paul Heyman reacted to the fan getting near him by pushing him, shoving him, blocking him. Some thought it may have been too aggressive. Some thought that's what he should have done. What are your thoughts on this? I know you saw this part.
Oh, God. And now this is another one where the people that want to hear me knocking Heyman are only going to hear some of the things I'm saying, and the people that want to fucking not like what I'm saying or not like me are going to say, oh, you'd have done the same thing or whatever the fuck. So I encourage everybody check the video out because a lot of big deal is being made about very little of anything. But yes, they're walking the heels, I guess, through the crowded area to go be a part of the post-show thing. And this kid, I can't judge children's ages. Knowing how tall Heyman is, I'm saying the kid was 3'6" to 4 feet tall. What age range? You have more of a specialism in children than I do.
I don't know if they were that small. It appeared to be someone, maybe a teenager, I would think.
No, come on, find that clip and tell me the kid's, I think 11, 12. Maybe he's a puny 13. I don't know, but he's 4 feet tall. Is all I'm saying to you. But the kid it runs around. I think it looked like he maybe was with his dad or whatever. But the kid runs up on Heyman like he's going to hug him. Or it seems overly pleased to see Heyman. That's what I couldn't figure out. And Heyman reaches down with both hands and just kind of shoves him back into the little crowd area there and goes on by. And the point being, a lot of people are saying, well, that's Heyman. He's a heel 24/7. And, he's just staying in character. And there's an element of that. And there's also an element of I've whacked a few people coming at me in my time, but that was a long time ago. From this individual kid in this moment with the look on his face, he was not presenting any danger. I think we're past the point where these people, or anybody expects to get knifed if they're walking through the crowd anyway. But I probably would have, hooked him under the arms a little bit and just walked by him with a little less aggressiveness or vehemence or whatever that Paul moved him over with. But at the same time, it wasn't him just walking up and fucking whacking the kid over the head with his fucking phone.
I would say the kid's about 12 years old if I'm looking at this video a few times.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the point is, it was a little energetic, in my opinion. I don't even think I would have done that if it'd been 15 or 16, yeah, you're getting a fucking pie face, motherfucker. But no, it was a little much, but it wasn't like nobody got hurt. And Heyman was probably, they were rushing him. I've been in that position too. Get over there now. And B, he was probably pissed off that he's got to walk through this kind of halfway open area with no barricades, all of them with people coming in and et cetera, instead of. So I could see both sides, but I think Paul was a little fucking energetic with the kid. What do you think?
It's one thing if someone grabs you or something, but the kid literally walks in front of Paul with one arm on one shoulder and he reaches for the other shoulder, almost like in a hug position.
Yeah.
Heyman grabs his arms and just shoves him out of the way. I mean, again, it wasn't like he just like touched him on the shoulder or something. He jumped in front of him. Heyman had to move him or he had to stop. Those are the two options. Move him or stop.
Well,
and,
again, no,
a body in motion tends to stay in motion, so Heyman wanted to keep moving.
Well, that's the thing. It's hard to turn a battleship on a dime, so I can understand Heyman not being able to quickly. But if he'd been a normal, if he was a normal sized human, there's a way you could actually just hug the kid and turn to your left and just pirouette around the kid and keep moving. But he chose instead to just remove the blockage because I guess Heyman's past a point where he can pirouette.
Well, that was WWE Survivor Series 20. I'm hitting all sorts of things. Survivor Series 2025.
And also, you've got to think, Brian, that another thing, the kid was so close to Heyman, he was using some of Paul's oxygen because it takes a lot of oxygen to fucking move a massive humanity like that.
Once again, Survivor Series WarGames at Petco Park. We shall return momentarily after this short commercial timeout. All right, Jim, well, there's been a lot of show, and we have a long way to go. A lot more fun to be had. I can't speak.
A lot more fun to happy have.
Well, of course, one of the reasons that I may be lagging a little bit is I need a good night's sleep. I'm a little tired right now. I wish I could just run upstairs and jump on my Helix sleep mattress and dream away.
And sleep. And just go to sleep. Just go to sleep, young man, and let me handle this, because I'll tell you what you need to do. You needed a Helix sleep mattress behind that kid that Heyman just flying beeled across the room. That would have been the answer there. And see, when the kid came at him, as a matter of fact, come to think of it, I believe now in further retrospect, when examining the situation, I think the kid may have had a knife. And so what Heyman did was he neutralized the hand with the knife and he got under his armpit and he flying beeled him across the room. But it wouldn't have been a problem if he'd have had a Helix sleep mattress to land on, just like all these other chuckle fucks around the country putting the videos of themselves up on Twitter being hip tossed off the porch and cross bodying off the second story deck and power bombing on the concrete slab. They need a Helix mattress to do all those things on, like the Buckaroos had when they were out in their backyard. I'm sure they were on a Helix sleep mattress because them boys is bouncy, them Helix sleep mattresses. Why, you give a leg drop on those and you'll just fly right back up in the air.
Well, again, with Helix Sleep, one of the great things about Helix Sleep is that you find the mattress that's right for you. Maybe you don't want a bouncy mattress. Maybe you want a firm mattress for a firm night's sleep.
Well, in that case, if you want a firm mattress, then when you get thrown off a second story deck or something like that, you'll just go, pfft. See, I'm trying to help these people, but it's up to them. But if you just want to go to sleep, as a matter of fact, when you get hip tossed on a Helix sleep mattress, Brian, when you bounce the first time you bounce, by the time you get a foot up in the air, you are sound asleep.
Again, that's
because just touching that Helix sleep mattress makes your whole body just shut down. Many people
it does not make your body shut down. What it does, ladies and gentlemen, imagine that sleep that you're having every night, but better because it's on a better mattress. That's the change. That's the change in your life, your lifestyle, and everything else will be rosy.
No, Brian, you're short selling everything here about the Helix sleep mattress because it affects all parts of your life, because your sleep is your regenerative phase. That's where you recoup all your lost energy and you let your cells in your corpuscles and everything rejuvenate and regenerate and recombobulate into the person you are today. That's what's made you. What you are today is sleeping, Brian, and you should do more of it. And if you're on a Helix sleep mattress, like I said, boom, you touch that thing, every organ in your body is just going to go, no. It's like they unplugged
you. Metaphorically, it'll be like they unplugged you and you're going to have a good night's sleep. But in reality and in the real world, outside of Slumberland, your body will be there, your soul and mind
are you
will be
saying
intact.
that your soul and mind leaves your body and goes out into the real world while you're still laying on the Helix sleep mattress as a physical being? Can you look down on people, Brian, in the big cities and see their ant-like presence because you're floating up there? And goddamn.
Listen, poor Casper the Friendly Ghost. Every time he tried to say hello to someone, they screamed and ran. The point, ladies and gentlemen, the point is, we all need a good night's sleep, and this is a safe and fun, well, I shouldn't say fun. You don't think of it as a fun night's sleep. It's a good night's sleep that we endorse. We have these mattresses here at Last Manor, and of course, Jim has them over there in the house. Inside the house.
I'm looking forward this holiday season to having a good night's sleep on one of the Helix mattresses I have, because I'm so busy I never get a chance to lay down. But folks, if you don't have that, if you'd like to just stretch out and lay there like they're ready to have words spoken over you, right now go to helixsleep.com/JCE, because I'll tell you what, if you use that code /JCE, you're going to get 27% off the fine mattresses, that whether they're firm or whether they're hard or whether they're soft or whether the boys be bouncy, whatever it may be, you will love to bounce your boys around on a Helix, metaphorically, of course, on a Helix sleep mattress, helixsleep.com/JCE, 27% off. They keep doing this, and I don't know why. They won't tell us why they're giving people this kind of deal. Must be some kind of fucking Honduran money laundering strategy.
It's a regular, good old-fashioned American business doing American business stuff. Helix Sleep, a great mattress for you. One more time, Jim, that promo code.
helixsleep.com/JCE. I thought Helix was of French descent.
All right, Jim, we will now attempt to move on, if that is indeed possible here on the show. Jim, before we get back to wrestling talk, have you been following the news, the reports in the news about I don't know if we would call it a love triangle, an affair that ruined a relationship?
If it's a triangle, it's a menage a trois.
The Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Olivia Nuzzi, if that's how you say her name, or Nuzzy, I don't know, and Ryan Lizza. Have you been following this whole thing?
Well, no, I thought RFK, or whatever is inhabiting the desiccated corpse of RFK, I thought he's married to that painfully thin, bone-like woman that was on the Larry Sanders Show.
You got all of that wrong. Jesus Christ. She was on Larry David's show, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Larry. No, who was Larry Sanders?
That was Gary Shandling, the genius.
That was Gary Shandling. Okay. Right. Well, then, okay.
Hey, now.
So the other guy, Larry David, would be the guy that she was on his show, and now she's married to this fucking clown.
And I don't know if she's painfully thin. She appears to be in shape.
She looks gaunt.
Apparently, while he was running for president, he started having, it seems like everyone at least agrees on this, a virtual affair with this reporter, Olivia Nuzzi, if that's how you pronounce her name.
Oh, that would be great if that was her name. Nuzzi? She's a reporter.
Nuzzi. How would you pronounce it?
Nutsy. Which if she's fucking around with this fucking cretin, she probably is.
Well, purportedly, she wasn't fucking around. She's saying
that fucking word is not used enough these days. Purportedly. A lot of things should be prefaced with purportedly.
She's saying that it was just text messages and maybe I think some videos back and forth or some, FaceTime, maybe some mutual masturbation. I'm not exactly sure.
Now, wait a minute. How? Maybe, and then also the Dalmatian walked in.
Now,
you started very innocuously there and led to what? Does nobody just get on the phone and say, "Oh, you want to fuck anymore?" And again, I'll fuck you and you fuck me, and it's got to have video. Do they have lights set up in the room for this? How are they broadcasting?
If you were going to cheat on your wife and you were Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and I don't think that's a new thing to him, right now, or at least at that point, it would have been as hard as it would have ever been. He had Secret Service. He was running for president. He had more media than he's ever had in his entire life, following him around.
And also, you're gonna write shit down virtually, as they say. You're either on video or put things in email form, text form, whatever, that can be subpoenaed and called back from the interclouds.
And we'll get to some of the more. We'll get to some more of the details of this, but. While all this was happening, this Olivia Newsy, Nutsy, whatever she may be, was dating another journalist named Ryan Lizza. You may have seen him. I think he's been on MSNBC. I think he's been on various programs in the past. I feel like everyone works for the same, this person used to work at Politico, and now they're at this one, and now they're at this one. He's one of those guys, You know the name, you've seen him.
He's bouncing around. I feel like I've heard the name. I couldn't pig him out of a lineup right now.
Well, apparently he discovered that his fiancée, Olivia, was having this, at a minimum, virtual affair with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He exposed it. It got real messy. She lost her job. He lost his job. Robert F. Kennedy joined the
Why couldn't he lose his job?
He joined the cabinet instead. His marriage is still intact. And it was reported that it was just this virtual thing, but this Ryan Lizza set up a Substack. You know what Substack is?
Oh, boy. Tell me what the Substack is. I know the kids are screaming now.
It's something for reporters or journalists to put up their stuff, and you could subscribe to them, as opposed to subscribing to a newspaper and getting whatever a newspaper delivers in 2025. You go journalist by journalist, a la carte, and you pick whose stuff you want to read. Well, he set up one, and he's...
See, I just as a footnote, I would support that for columnists and people who write opinion pieces and essays and things of that nature, but no, I want some goddamn news from a corporation that has insurance and something to lose in case of libel laws where they have a few standards. But nevertheless, go ahead.
Well, he set up this Substack, and he's doing an entire series on this because it's the only thing anyone who's ever heard of him wants to know about now. And I found out about it because the New York Post has a headline here. Ryan Lizza reveals raunchy poem RFK Jr. allegedly sent to his then-fiancée as he tells all on Olivia Newsy. Have you been apprised of, or are you aware of Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s poetry?
I didn't know that he's a poet. He don't know it, but his feet show it because they're Longfellows. I didn't know that he dabbled in the prose, so to speak.
Well, this is from part 2 of Ryan Lizza's Substack, substack.com. I guess just look for Ryan Lizza. Part 2.
Look for him. He's waving. He's waving. He's trying to be found.
This is from part 2. She did it again.
Uh-oh.
Because she previously had an affair with Mark Sanford, the South Carolina politician who disappeared for a time.
Wait a minute, he was the guy that fucking said he was hiking the fucking Appalachian Trail or something when he was off at a hotel fucking some woman?
In Brazil, or whatever it was.
In Brazil, what the... Can't even go to the goddamn embassy suites in fucking, Cleveland or something? He's got to go to Brazil?
Well, apparently she had previously admitted to, according to Ryan Lizza in part 1, having an affair with Mark Sanford.
This sounds like a heel program, but go ahead.
She did it again. It was 4 years later. Another presidential campaign. Another book project. Another candidate whom she had profiled. Another note, a poem, according to Olivia, though this time from the candidate to her. And now I'm going to read from this alleged poem from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Your open mouth awaiting my harvest.
Oh.
Drink from me, love. I mean to squeeze your cheeks to force open your mouth. I hold your nose as you look up to me.
No, she's got to be the one holding her nose, but go ahead.
I hold your nose as you look up at me to encourage you to swallow. Don't spill a drop. I am a river. You are my canyon. I mean to flow through you. I mean to subdue and tame you, my love. Jim, I know you didn't study poetry, but what are your thoughts?
You read that well. You read that well. It did not at all have the tone of like Mike Tenay reading Shitstain's TV formats at the production meet. You put some
I am no Mike Tenay.
Art into them.
Yes. What are your thoughts on the poetry of that he's sending to journalists that he's having affairs with?
While he's running for president, apparently.
That's right.
Well, I mean, I don't even know where to start. Look at the state of him to begin with. Look at the crackpot shit he says. He's supposed to be the fucking Secretary of Health or whatever the fuck they've done to him. And he looks like literally a fucking saddlebag that was somehow animated with a voice. And he's admitted to having a brain worm and swimming in sewage. And every member of his family has come out and said, please don't listen to this embarrassment to our fucking legacy. And now he thinks he's goddamn Shakespeare if he was impersonating fucking John Holmes. So is there a 25th Amendment for these people? Like, kid, that's just, he's not really the guy, but he's close enough to shit to fuck it up, and he's batshit nuts. As crazy as a rainbow trout in a car wash. Can somebody disbar him, suspend him? Because he's killing people with the anti-vaccine bullshit. If people are going to, some uninformed people are going to take, I'm trying to say nice words, seriously and not get vaccinated. And then we all have to deal with public health menaces because of their goddamn drooling, infectious children. When is enough with this fucking guy? And I believe this Ryan Lizza here, because if he was going to try to make something up, he would have done a lot better job than that. Anybody with a functioning fucking brain.
Well, apparently she's put out a book or about to put out a book telling her side of the story. And he's on Substack, so we'll stay on top of the story, see what other poetry
is her mouth still open, or is he let go of her fucking nose yet, so she can tell her side of the story?
That's crazy. Just him sitting there thinking about it and saying, "Here's what I'll write," because it's either that or he copied and pasted it from another dirty text message to someone. But that's a crazy text message to send out. I don't care if you're having an affair or not.
Especially if you're running for fucking president. That's what they're mentally incompetent, the entire group of all of them. And people are just acting like it's normal.
Well, as I said, that was our real world Prince Andrew update for this week.
Jesus Christ. Do you think can RFK and Andrew move in together and do a reality show? The Really Odd Couple.
Well, we shall see what happens. We'll stay on top of that story. Jim, before we go too much further, by popular demand...
I think we've probably gone too far already, but go ahead.
By popular demand, the listeners are requesting your review of the star ratings for from the Wrestling Observer newsletter for AEW Full Gear.
Why do they keep demanding this?
Well, I think for a lot of people, it's their way of getting the news, finding out what's happening, what's going on in and around the crazy world.
We could just put on a rerun, because just what we need to do is just leave blanks for names. And then we will say, what did Dave think of blank versus blank? Because it was really the shits. And then you will say he gave it either 4 or 5 stars.
Well, why don't we play Guess the Dave? And you try to tell me what you think his star rating for the match will be.
Knowing that wild card, bitches.
It's a real wild card, because you know he'll give star ratings to matches that he doesn't like higher sometimes. Depends on who's in it. So this is a real
Depends on who's in it. Yeah. Well, they're okay. There you go. So pitch it to me.
All right, let me pitch it to you.
Ah.
All right, sounds like you're ready.
Getting warmed up here. Do a couple of push-ups. Here we go.
Juice Robinson and Austin Gunn won a 4-way for $200,000 over the Outrunners, the Acclaimed, and Big Bill and Brian Keith in 7 minutes and 25 seconds.
Oh, good Lord. That sounds like a disaster. So he's not going to want to hurt anybody's feelings, but at the same time, none of, particularly that we know of, his darlings are in this. And as well, you got to start somewhere so he can go up for the Lollipop Guild. So he gave it 3 stars.
All right, this may be an interesting baseline to go by for the rest of the night. 2 stars. 2 stars from Dave Meltzer.
Jesus Christ, did somebody have a fucking coronary in the middle of the ring and shit themselves, projectile vomit into the crowd?
According to Dave, it was nothing special as a match.
Ooh.
So 2 stars means nothing special.
He hates them guys.
Big Boom AJ and QT Marshall, the team of Boom and Doom, we never figured out why he's Doom, beat Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta 11 minutes 55 seconds. What do you think Dave gave it?
Okay, he has a 4-way tag team match, at least amongst mostly experienced, somewhat professionals. And then he goes down to the gimmick match with the guy from Jersey and his corpulent son. He gave this one 2.5.
Well, pretty good. 2.25 stars. So you're within a quarter of a star. That's as good as 5 stars.
That's what I'm thinking. He at least, you know, he had to go somewhere, and instead of going down, he just went up. All right.
Jim, no star rating for this one. Eddie Kingston and Hook defeated Anthony Henry and JD Drake 1 minute 50 seconds.
Why is there no star rating?
Just a quick match to establish why Kingston and Hook were there, since they were involved in the main event finish.
Okay, but did they just go out there and blow on those guys and they fell down, took them a minute and a half to cover them? Or did they give you a, nice minute and a half with a decisive victory and got the point across and everybody's shit looked good?
That's really interesting. What do you think? I mean, do you think there should be a limit? It has to be a certain length of time at least to register on the scale, or is it just...
Okay, well, by that line of his thinking, Bruno Sammartino versus Buddy Rogers in Madison Square Garden on May 17, 1963, wasn't worth rating.
Nothing special.
Nothing special.
Jim, the final match on the pre-show, as well as the opening match on the pay-per-view show, Místico and Mascara Dorada and Neon defeated Kazuchika Okada, Konosuke Takeshita, and Hechicero to retain the CMLL World Trios title in 13 minutes. What do you think Dave gave it?
I must say, I like Neon's entrance music. He shall be Neon.
That's terrible. That is just...
What? And he shall be Neon. He shall have a good match.
Well, how good of a match do you think it was? That's the question.
So, well, two of the competitors in the match didn't join it until they fucking blew off the pyro in the middle of the thing and ran off the goddamn cable television broadcast to go to the pay-per-view. And then the other guy just pulled up in his car because he didn't give a shit. And it was a mess from start to finish. So Dave had to give this one 3.5.
Once again, within the range, 3 3/4 stars.
Oh, geez, almost 4.
I would have guessed 4. I would have guessed that Dave gave this 4 because of Okada, and I would have guessed 4. Jim, Pac defeated Darby Allin 16 minutes, 58 seconds. Before you tell me what you think Dave gave it, I'll just tell you that Dave wrote, great match, but a weak finish.
Which actually, it was a great match followed by the last week 8 minutes, but nevertheless. Well, you had to give that 4 stars, and it was potentially the most palatable thing on the program. But you just because of it's Darby, and he did a real fine job.
Oh, I don't have my horn here. I would hit it. Jim, 4 stars. You got it.
Well, there you go. I'm predicting. Oh my God, I'm thinking like Dave. What in the hell?
You've gotten good at this.
Somebody give me some kind of medicine.
Jim, Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa defeated Marina Shafir and Megan Bain, Sky Blue and Julia Hart, and Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron 13 minutes 11 seconds. What did Dave give this match?
Well, obviously, I did not study it closely, so I can't, but I would imagine, and Brian, I'm sure you paid some moderate attention, but from the sound of it, it was scrambled eggs. I don't know whether or not that Dave has any favorites there, but he doesn't want to hurt any of the girls' feelings, I'm sure, because he's a compassionate fellow. 3 1/4.
Again, within the range, 3 stars.
Oh, no. He's being more honest than I gave him credit for.
Match was all action.
I'm sure it was.
All right, here's an interesting one for you, Jim. FTR defeated Brody King and Bandito to win the AEW World Tag Team Championship, 20 minutes, 11 seconds. What did Dave give it?
Well, as I recall again, that if you overlook, Dave loves Bandito because he loves all of that stuff. If you overlook Bandito's sloppy work, FTR made the mistake they make every time of having a really good or possibly great sometimes, or sometimes just as good as it could possibly be tag match, and then going 5-7 more minutes. It gets lost and the opponents can't keep up, or it just, Jesus Christ, overstays the welcome because it's too complicated. But having said that, I'm sure Dave loved the action. 4.5 stars.
Jim, 5-star match. This was one of the best tag team matches of the year. Great spots, great build. The match story was all about making Bandito look incredible since he was the one losing the fall at the end.
Well, then they failed in their mission if it was all about making Bandito look incredible, because he still looks half the shits to me. But in that case, the FTR Jay White Juice Robinson tag match from a couple years ago would have to be somewhere around 7 to 7.5 stars. Because that's the disparity in what the quality of the two matches were to me. But Dave, do go on.
Jim, Ricochet became the first AEW National Champion, winning the Casino Gauntlet, 22 minutes, 53 seconds.
This parade of underneath talent, unimpressive, boring, bland, charismaless fodder, along with the stupidity of the Hurt Syndicate just going to sleep for 20 minutes and the rest of the botch ups he had to kind of be halfway honest, even though there were people in here he didn't want to offend. So, but there's also other people in there he could say, well, they all sucked. So he charitably gave this 3 stars.
4-star match. 4 stars in the Observer.
Oh my God.
Jim, the next match, the 9th match of the night. Kyle O'Reilly defeated Jon Moxley in a no-rules match, 19 minutes, 16 seconds. What did it get in the Observer?
And boy, when you hear the actual times written out, you realize it's longer and more cumbersome than you even imagined. It's Moxley. He don't want to offend Moxley. He's probably scared of Moxley. This had to be a 4-star match. I'm not even going to attempt to justify why he would do it, but it has to be.
4 3/4 stars.
Oh, gosh.
It's as good as 5.
What are we arguing about then? What did this earth-shaking performance by, again, what is he looking at? With Moxley, especially. The idea that this fucking guy's fake bullshit and his sloppy work and his goofy demeanor is somehow palatable to the, all right.
A few more matches, Jim. Mark Briscoe defeated Kyle Fletcher in 24 minutes, 49 seconds to win the TNT title in a no DQ match.
This was thumbtacks, and didn't they wrap something in barbed wire? And they had, it all blurs. I don't know what stupid, nonsensical gimmicks that don't exist in the real world that they used in this one. But again, the people love Mark Briscoe, and they all bled buckets. And Uncle Dave wants to put old Kyle over. So it's got to be 4.5, doesn't it?
5-star match.
Gosh, all right.
That's 2 so far on this card, although Moxley and Kyle O'Reilly was just about there. The Young Bucks and Josh Alexander defeated Kenny Omega and the Jurassic Express, 19 minutes, 6 seconds. Winner gets $1 million.
Jesus Christ, when you say it out loud.
Jim, what do you think?
Oh, fuck.
How many stars do you think this got in the Observer?
Well, these are Dave's adopted children. So what's it going to be like at Christmas if he's given these other guys? It'll be like Robert F. Kennedy and Olivia Nutsy and the fucking river of semen flowing through the fucking back of the throat. His river will get cut off.
It'll be just like that, ladies and gentlemen.
Just like all these things that you see on the news. That's got to be 5.25 then, right? Because the Buckaroos are in it. How is he going to tell them they didn't do as good as his other guys?
This is somewhat telling. 4.5 stars.
Ooh, what? How did he blame fucking Alexander, or who did he put the blame on?
It's not just the Bucks. Omega's in that too. What does that tell you?
What, Gats? Jesus.
4.5 star match for the Bucks and Omega.
Of course, it wasn't worth 2 French fried titty fucks and a fucking slimy onion, but what did he find wrong with it?
He didn't say anything was wrong with it.
Oh, it just wasn't as good as the other.
I'm looking for through his notes here, just kind of saying what move went into the next move, and no real commentary on the match itself.
He loves to talk about the moves, doesn't he?
Jim, Chris Statlander defeated Mercedes Moné, 23 minutes, 1 second.
Okay, again.
Wow, I didn't realize it went that long. Wow.
Oh, I thought one of them could have got impregnated and fucking given birth in the time it took him to finish that thing. But he's got to admit that people were like, Jesus H. Christ, will they please get out of this thing and let's just get this over with by that point. And it drug on. And will he charitably, because he don't want to offend Miss Moon, give it 3.5 maybe now?
Jim, 4.25 stars.
What the fuck what is he looking at?
I think it's a star for every 5 minutes.
That match was as good as many Flair and Steamboat main events and Kurt Angle and fucking Undertaker and Michaels and all these other that.
And finally, Jim, one more match. Samoa Joe defeated Adam Page in a cage match to win the AEW title in 14 minutes and 22 seconds, which Dave notes here, the shortest pay-per-view main event in the history of the company. What do you think, Dave?
And how long was it?
14 minutes, 22 seconds.
Jesus Christ, and that does tell that they have some excessive fucking matches. If that's the shortest pay-per-view main event in the history of the company, 15 minutes. No wonder the show's never fucking end. Because every once in a while, it deserves it. Just get in and get out. But anyway, I've seen more excitement, people trying to roller skate in fucking quicksand than was going on here for the most part. And it was 5 hours or whatever into this thing. I don't know what he's going to say, but to me, even him being charitable is this 3.5.
3.5 stars.
Holy shit.
So you're two for 13. 2 for 13. That's pretty good, though. I think that's pretty good.
Now, whether any of these ratings of mine or his were in any way exact, is the answer to that is no, but I was trying to guess what he would say. And he still astounded me with his goddamn verbal fellatio.
What are your thoughts on main event time? The length of time that the main event has, I guess. Just the variety of matches. If this is the shortest match for any AEW, did he say pay-per-view? Yeah, pay-per-view main event. There's never been a match shorter than 14 minutes and 22 seconds. Does that say that? I mean, is that a problem? Is it not a problem?
Yes, it's a big problem. Because it shows that they're deliberately writing down, here's what we want you to go, or here's what you want to go, rather than here's what you ought to go. And sometimes you ought to go. And that's the example that I mentioned, the most pivotal, important, business-changing match in history. Rogers and Sammartino was 48 seconds. And one of the reasons it was memorable is it was such a quick and concise defeat of a major fucking superstar that it made the guy that did it. And you can't do that but once in a generation or whatever, but still it fits the fucking criteria. And how many times have you seen a classic match from any of the territories on YouTube or whatever, where they went and they blew into the ring and they tore the house down for 8 to 10 minutes and the finish, and oh my God, and there's people snatching at people and it's just chaos. Sometimes that's called for, but you never get it anymore because everybody's worried about filling up their fucking time so they can have a classic match. And the reason why in the territories, the classic matches are not remembered because of how long they were, but because they needed to be that long for those guys to be that good. You didn't, if you were drawing money with specific guys with specific styles, you went with their styles. The Sheik drew money, but he didn't go fucking 30 minutes. He went 5 and it burned his territory out, but not until he'd made millions of dollars. If he'd pulled back on it a couple years quicker, everybody would have prospered. But it is sometimes necessary because of the style of whoever you get over. Jimmy Valiant drew, I don't know how much money, not only in Memphis, but in the Carolinas. Right before the 86 boom, Jimmy Valiant was as hot in the Carolinas in 84 and 85 as Dusty Rhodes and Ricky Steamboat or goddamn the Rock and Roll Express when they first came in. You have seen the footage. It was goddamn amazing. Nobody wanted to see Jimmy Valiant go 15 minutes because at that point, he was in his 40s and it was the gimmick and the promo. And Jey Uso, except they're making Jey Uso go fucking 30 minutes.
His entrance goes 30 minutes.
But that is the problem. And that's the problem why the matches blur together and seem the same. The booking, one of the responsibilities of booking is to determine the length of the matches. And you don't just go to the guys and say, okay, I want you to win and just how much time do you need? Because they'll always say, oh, we're going to have a classic. No, part of the story, part of the fucking ongoing saga between the rivalry between these two entities can be that they had a fucking fast-paced, goddamn knockdown, drag-out match and it was over quick. And the next time the guy's going to go longer because he's going to do this and that. It's a roller coaster. So you tell the guys how long you want them to go, and you say, I want it to jump start it. The heel fucking gets heat on the baby face who gets hope spots until finally in 7 or 8 minutes he blows his big comeback, and then the goddamn fucking other guy jumps in, or you have the guy kicked in the nuts or whatever the fuck. It doesn't all have to be half an hour long. Because then there's something to come back with and come back over. Instead of just, we've done everything we know how to do and now we'll get out of it. So that's depending on the style of the persons involved and how over they were and how over one guy was where you played to his strengths, and depending on the story that was being told amongst these entities over a long-term basis, you would have long matches and short matches and everything in between. All through the dawn of goddamn time in wrestling. Only the marks who now inhabit various positions in all the companies apparently think that a match has to be 30 minutes long for it to be classic.
Well, those were the star ratings in the Observer for AEW Full Gear 2025, as well as a little bit about the main event match length. Jim, AEW, the one thing they say,
yes,
they purport, to use that word again, they purport that their pay-per-views have had tremendous sales. And you've heard Dave Meltzer say it too. You could say whatever you want. The pay-per-views are doing great. And when you look at what the television ratings are, it is a remarkable conversion rate. It's something that you have to wonder if it's indeed true, and we have not seen a shred of documentation to back up any of these things. But you have to wonder how much better they could do with a great team to partner with them to help sell. Like our friends at Shopify.
You mean experts. You mean people that are used to selling all over the world, all over your bodies, with just millions of businesses all over this big blue marble of ours. 10% of all the e-commerce in the United States goes through Shopify, the purple shop pay button. You're saying if they had, instead of a bunch of local yokels from the Jacksonville Kmart down there in AEW, if they had professionals, a team, award-winning customer support working to sell this bogus dipshit product that they've got going on here, well, they might make more money. And then they would hear that cha-ching ringing in their ears of the cash registers, especially at the holiday season. That's, I think, what they need, folks, at Shopify. Right now, Shopify.com is where you need to be going if you want to hear your cash registers ka-ching. Is that ka-ching ready yet? There it is. Thank you. I was one short.
It won't
now
stop.
I'm one ahead. It won't stop. That's right. The money will not stop pouring in, ladies and gentlemen. If you turn your dreams into reality and your business into an ongoing concern instead of a source of major concern, if you take your little puny, overlooked, willy-nilly little organization that you have put together and it's drawing no money. You're Kansas City. You're on the verge of closing. You got to go to work with the big boys. That's why Shopify will give you a hand up and a leg up and a hand job. They'll give you a big round of applause. That's kind of hand.
They'll give you
One
a
of those
hand.
things.
They'll help you. A helping hand. Let's call it a helping hand.
They'll give you handiness to turn those dreams into that money that you've always wanted and give you a shot at success. They will shoot you out of a cannon right at the target of success. What? Metaphorically.
I hope so. I hope so.
Well, now the guy at the circus, that's something you don't see anymore. The guy gets shot out of a cannon. If one of you human cannonballs that used to work at the circus, it's out unemployed now, if you'll go to Shopify, they're wide open for human cannonballs. They can service you instantly. You can be being shot from one end of this country to the other by tomorrow.
No, again, ladies and gentlemen.
But the rest of you, if you'd like to be cannon fodder.
No, they're not cannon fodder.
Then just stick with what you're doing now. If you want to be cannon fodder, but if you want to be the cannonball and you want to just mow down everything in your path, that's where you go to Shopify.com/JCE and sign up for that $1 a month trial period so they can show you how they will take that big round piece of metal and they will put you on the end of it and they will shoot you into the successful land of glory and across the Rainbow Bridge and through the valley to Grandma's house for Christmas.
I want to remind you, Jim, of course, a friendly reminder that for this show...
I'm out of breath now.
For this show, it's Shopify.com/Cornette.
Oh, they changed it on me. Shopify.com/Cornette. That's my name. See, that's when they go back and forth, but you get the deals, one or the other. But Shopify.com/Cornette will turn your home into a cannon place where they will cannonball you.
It will turn it into a cannon place, ladies and gentlemen. That's the guarantee. From Jim Cornette, not from Shopify. Yes. Of course, Shopify is there to help you, help your business. They help us. They help our online business. We can justify or verify or say that we use them.
Testify
to the strength of Shopify.
The strength?
The strength.
I thought you said shrink.
Well, whatever.
See, that's something a lot of businesses are going through is shrink. You need to pair up with Shopify so your balls won't shrivel.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Shopify.com.
Shopify.com/Cornette. That's what it is. Cannonballs.
Well, Jim, as we move on here, we have a few more things we're going to hit today, and we'll see what else we do.
Well, don't you threaten me.
Some sad news coming in. People are already sending it in wanting to get your thoughts. I had not seen this when we started recording. I have an Instagram tweet from CM Punk. A picture of Larry the dog.
Oh, no.
The grief we carry is the price we pay for unconditional love.
Oh.
Our little Larry crossed the Rainbow Bridge, wrapped tightly in our arms. He was safe and happy. Surrounded by love. We rescued Larry from Paul's Chicago in February of 2015, and he changed our lives. I could never in 1,000,000 years find the words to properly express how much we loved him, nor how much joy he brought us. Nothing I write, no picture I post, would do him justice. He lived a long, amazing life. He watched sunsets. He chased skateboards. He made everywhere we went with him home. What a privilege to be so heartbroken and devastated for having experienced such a bond. I wouldn't change anything. Our boy is at rest. The house is quiet, but we still hear the jingle of his necklace and the tip-taps of his little feet on the hardwood floors. He will always be near. We will always feel him. Our hearts are broken. Until we see you again, sweetest Bobo, we love you forever. And that's from CM Punk on Instagram. The sad news, a wrestling celebrity of sorts, I would say, actually, over the last several years. Larry the dog, there are literally action figures and t-shirts.
Yes, we have some. We have some here at the house. And and I was just saying at the Survivor Series, he wore the jacket saying Larry's dad. And I don't know whether to say I hope it was sudden or I hope it wasn't sudden. Maybe he knew Larry was sick, if that was the case. But I don't know. After going through it with baby, I don't know whether it's worse if it comes up just all of a sudden or if you know about it ahead of time. At least you have time to prepare. But then you have to think about it longer, and it's just neither one is easy. I hate to hear that. Oh, and Stacy's such a big fan of Larry's too. She ordered all the merchandise, and
I actually recently just got a glow-in-the-dark fluorescent Larry the dog figure from Zombie Sailor Toys. I was like, what is this? A glow-in-the-dark fluorescent Larry. I somehow need this. But very sad news. We send our sympathies and positive vibes to CM Punk and AJ Lee. You have to think maybe as well-traveled a dog in wrestling history. Well, Matilda. Matilda kind of went around everywhere.
Matilda didn't enjoy it as much, I'm sure.
Right.
And her run was briefer, even though she made more towns.
Well, Jim, staying on the topic of wrestling news happening as we are recording, have you seen the latest news about TNA?
Yeah. AMC.
That's right.
That used to stand for American Movie Classics. And it was like a Turner Classic Movies with commercials. They just played classic movies. Then they got The Walking Dead and I don't know, what else have they had? I haven't watched AMC in forever.
Mad Men was the best show on that channel.
Okay, Mad Men.
Oh, yeah.
But we used to watch Walking Dead all the time, and then it went on, and it didn't look like the human race was ever going to win, and we got distracted. But what is I haven't perused their schedule in a while. Are they just open for anything now? They got cooking shows, they got the wrestling now. What's going on at AMC that?
And of course, Breaking Bad.
They want wrestling.
Yeah, I forgot about Breaking Bad. I should mention that here too, because that's a fantastic show.
Well, now what was Better Call Saul on?
That was AMC also, I believe, right?
Okay, that's the last time that I watched AMC. Was when we were calling Saul.
AMC is like A&E. You know, these channels started around the same time. They started as one thing. I remember Arts and Entertainment after Nickelodeon would go off the air.
Yeah. Arts and Entertainment has neither arts nor entertainment on anymore.
That's right.
It was supposed to be, the goddamn opera, and now it's somebody fucking tooting opera on a kazoo out their ass.
Well, I have a press release, I believe, here. TNA's flagship TV show. I don't know why I said it like that. TNA's flagship TV show, Thursday Night Impact, will be brought to AMC and AMC Plus after a multi-year agreement made.
Oh, God damn it. They've got a plus too?
Everyone does. After a multi-year agreement made between AMC Networks and TNA Wrestling. We are super excited to bring the in-ring excitement, energy, and drama of TNA Wrestling to AMC, said TNA Wrestling President Carlos Silva. TNA Wrestling heads into 2026 the hottest it has ever been, with intense rivalries and a fan base that loves TNA stars. We cannot wait to expand the TNA audience with our new partner, AMC Networks, which has such a long and storied history of serving passionate and engaged fans across many shows and franchises through this new media rights deal. The 2-hour Thursday Night Impact will premiere on January 15th and become a weekly event on AMC and AMC Plus. And finally, a quote here from Dan McDermott, Chief Content Officer of AMC Networks and the President of AMC Studios. TNA's impressive growth and success is driven by the stories, characters, and non-stop action fans love. We put fans at the center of everything we do, and TNA has built its brand and its programming around that same dedication and focus. What a great opportunity to come together and make Thursday Night Impact
Come together
a dynamic
right
and entertainment
now on Thursday night.
weekly event on AMC and AMC Plus starting next month. So let's talk about this. TNA on AMC, that's the best home they've had on cable since Spike, wouldn't you say?
Well, yes, it may be, and no, it may not be. And before, again, everybody's going to hear just what they want to hear, but there's things about both sides on this. Let's just look at it, because I don't give a shit whether anybody watches any of this stuff or not, to be quite honest with you. But AMC may be available in a competitive number of homes as some of the other cable networks, outlets, whatever. But it depends in large part. It has a lot to do with it as to what type of audience is watching that. Because CNN, or not CNN, but C-SPAN. C-SPAN, where they just show Congress fucking talking to people in the goddamn meetings. That's on all the cable systems, but nobody watches it. Or what was the goddamn deal they had wrestling on? Destination America. Remember when it ended up? They had some homes, but still no wrestling fans were going to Destination America. And maybe they're like me, they haven't watched AMC in a while. It depends on what audience that they have cultivated at AMC. They're obviously trying to get new and different ones now, which means maybe that it's not that great, because it's not how many homes you're available in, it's how many homes have actually been watching you. And what have they been watching you for? Is it Lifetime? What if they put wrestling on Lifetime? You think, would the wrestling fans go, where the fuck did wrestling go? Or would suddenly a bunch of, I don't know what is their demographic is, 30-something to 50-something-year-old women, oh, we love wrestling.
Depends what wrestling. It depends
on where it is.
For that audience.
And what wrestling.
Yeah, for that audience, I think if you tailored a wrestling show for the Lifetime audience, it would be a very interesting thing. But it would have to be that. It couldn't just be like, here's TNA. AMC
but
networks.
That's just what I'm saying, is that it depends on if people are, any television station, local, national, network, whatever, not only depends on whether people are watching it, but what kind of people are watching it, and whether or not it's going to require a mass switch in people's habits. And then if it does require that, then basically their TNA audience they've had is going to go over to watch TNA on AMC. Are they going to watch any of the other shit that's on AMC? We don't know.
Will AMC in any way enhance TNA's audience? That's the interesting thing, because if they have AMC Plus, not knowing what's on it, but knowing that AMC owns BBC America, IFC, Sundance TV, and WE TV.
WE TV?
Those are all like niche channels. They all have their audiences. They're not big audiences. But I don't know if there's going to be like a crossover. If it's like, now...
Are people going to the British Broadcasting Corporation to see wrestling unless it's World of Sport?
And certainly not the modern version they tried to wheel out a few years ago. No, they're not. But that's my point. Wrestling fans, you'd have to subscribe to their app. It still comes down to the same issue. It's either if you have cable or streaming. If it's only available on their app on streaming, that may be an issue, because what's their app cost? Is there anything else built into it that people are going to really want, like an HBO Max or a Netflix or anything? And then in terms of the channel, they're going to have to promote it. We'll see if WWE helps them. That'll be interesting. It'll be interesting how much WWE helped them. But going forward,
who is the corporate overlord?
They're independent.
The Darth Vader of AMC.
AMC Networks, I believe, is independent. Let me click on Wikipedia.
Well, nobody's independent now. There's not one guy that owns all those networks and said, you know what, I'm going to have the Featherbottoms help me do the mailing and run it out of my house. There's some goddamn corporation behind this.
Rainbow. It used to be Rainbow Media. Oh, this is the Dolan family.
Oh, the Dolans.
Yeah, key people, James Dolan, non-executive chairman, Kristen Dolan, CEO. So this comes out of Cablevision originally.
Are those the Doolin Dolans?
No, these Dolans.
Who the fuck are the Dolans? You're just like they're a household name to you.
Well, they kind of.
No, I don't know. We used to exchange cards, but we've lost touch.
The Dolan family, Charles Dolan started HBO, started Madison Square Garden Cable, started Cablevision. His family took over Cablevision eventually. And sold it off, actually. Owned Madison Square Garden, owned Radio City Music Hall, owned the Beacon Theater. They owned the Sphere in Las Vegas.
Jesus Christ.
Their cousins used to own the Cleveland Indians. One day we'll tell the story on the air about the complete fucking debacle that is Evergreen Podcasts. We got a fucking story about that one day.
That's not them too.
That's one of the members of the Dolan family. That was a woman who was a Dolan. Who was funding that nonsense.
I thought she was just a dolt.
So they have money. They own the Knicks, the Rangers, and they now have.
This is Tony Khan's worst nightmare if somebody in that family is a wrestling fan.
James Dolan gets so much negative press and everything because of, him, that he now has. They had this before, it was, I guess, more commonplace, censors at Madison Square Garden that pick up what your face is. And if you're one of the lawyers representing a firm that is suing Madison Square Garden for any reason, they kick you out of the garden. There's been numerous stories. There's been numerous stories in the past couple of years. Like this lawyer, not just like some civilian, this lawyer went to see some concert and security wouldn't let him in. They threw him out because he was suing the garden.
Well, now, has anybody tested this thing? Can they wear like a fake beard or anything? How do you get around this? Do you have to go all Hollywood and go get to the makeup chair, or just fucking some sunglasses and a goddamn little Gomez Adams mustache?
Yeah, I don't know, but James Dolan got into a fight with Charles Oakley, one of my favorite Knicks growing up, threw him out of the garden, banned him from the garden.
Hey, I want to see. Now that is a fight I want to see. James Dolan versus the WWE TKO. James Dolan needs to buy Tony out and then start a real goddamn company, Pinocchio, and fight the big evil overlords up there in Stamford, so we could have some real knockdown, drag out bullshit. James Dolan is
best known for inheriting his father's business and then doing something.
He sounds like he's a vindictive son of a bitch, though, and that would make this thing juicy.
That's what makes it even funnier. He has another passion, which is music. And he fashions himself as a bluesman. And he had this band that he put together because they put up a video after years of hearing about it, like people scoffing about it in the newspaper, but never hearing or seeing any examples. This video went up. The band was no problem. The band was a good band. He was like the lead singer and harmonica player. And it was terrible. But here's the funny thing. Because he loves music, even though it wasn't necessarily his thing, and he owns all these buildings, he got Irving Azoff, the manager of the Eagles, to book him as the opening band for the Eagles as part of the bigger deal between Dolan and Azoff for more Eagles stuff. So he was the opening act. It was like JD and the Straight Shot. And he's JD, James Dolan, just billionaire's son, out there playing the harmonica.
Maybe on second thought, we need to see this guy against Tony Khan. PKO out of it now. That I'm thinking that could be a fucking fun little feud.
Yeah. Surprised you're not aware of him just because he's he's notorious. They bought the Knicks, and the Knicks, with the exception of like last year and a few times, a few other moments, the Knicks have not been good since. And again, very vindictive.
I don't keep up with the Knickerbockers since,
Yeah. Since Willis Reed. I get it.
I thought it was but wait a minute, was it Wilt Chamberlain? Was he a Knickerbocker?
No, he was never on the Knicks.
Who was a Knickerbocker from the 50s?
From the 50s?
Yes. I'm seeing a documentary I saw once, and here's the big
I don't know.
New York Knickerbocker.
What about Walt Clyde Frazier? You know him? You know Clyde?
From the commercials about his hair, right?
That's right.
Yes. He's a very hirsute gentleman.
Senator Bill Bradley. Remember Bill Bradley?
Now, I remember Milton. I voted for Milton when I was a kid.
Any other thoughts on TNA's new home?
I don't know. What were we talking about? Oh, AMC. Yeah, I don't know whether anybody's going to watch this shit or not on AMC over there. We'll see what happens. When we watched it, it wasn't that fucking great to begin with, but, there's people that'll watch anything.
They get higher ratings. They just aired that show with us doing commentary over it. Just muted everything that was actually happening. A lot of shit on it.
And we can sit in the, they can have the Mystery Science Theater 3,000 little cutouts of us there.
And AMC, I'm just looking to see if there's any other channels. Yeah, those are the big ones, and they have a whole bunch of streaming services.
Well, at least I know we get the AMC here on our cable, because it's not like Access now is on our cable also at no extra charge. When it was HDNet and I was producing a show on it, I had to pay $10 extra a month just to get that channel to watch the fucking show that I was doing.
If Tony was worried at all, and I'm not saying he was, about where TNA would end up and how that would affect him in the future, do you think those worries are over now?
Well, I mean, it just because it's so much more wrestling that there's got to be a breaking point for even the base couple of 100,000 people that are the ones that watch the TNAs and or the Ring of Honors and or the AEWs and or the New Japans and or the other alternate wrestling programming that's out there, to where they've got, I mean, is it now a thing they're going to have to do to just, let's take off next week from work so we can sit and catch up on all these fucking multi-hour shows? It's a lot of shit to watch. I think it's just going to dilute the pool at this point, but I don't think it's going to appreciably affect Tony's numbers more than they've already been affected by whatever Tony's been doing. Are you speaking to me?
I was having a great conversation here on mute. That was television news, ladies and gentlemen, and with that, we shall return after this short commercial timeout. You know what that means, Jim? It's time for the wind-up here. We're going to get ready to
that means out. The station break music is getting longer every time, is what that means.
We have a lot more to cover on the experience in just a few days, but one last big story here at the end, Jim. I don't even know where to begin.
I know where you're going.
Have you been following the Ric Flair Hulk Hogan street drugs controversy?
Well, hopefully you will bring some more context to it, but I will say that I have been following the reports that apparently on some type of interview or program or somewhere, Ric Flair made the comments that poor Hulk Hogan, apparently he died from street drugs because he had so many surgeries. He was in so much pain. The doctors wouldn't give him enough whatever. And he resorted to some, I don't know, he sent emissaries out. He's laid up in bed or whatever. And I guess he would have sent emissaries out to find him street drugs, which then killed him. Which that's what he said, that what I've been told is blah, 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 blah. And apparently he shouldn't have told what he'd been told, but stopping right there before we hear the resolution of it, Is even if you were told that about a friend of yours, would you go on like fucking midday New York on NBC or whatever? And so, by the way, I heard that my friend Joe used to live down the street from me in Long Island. Yeah, he died of fucking black tar heroin or what?
He's done this before. I want to say it was, gee, I don't even remember how many years ago. Didn't he like announce that Blackjack Mulligan was about to die when no one knew that Blackjack Mulligan was sick, or at least that sick? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
I don't know. I don't want to comment any further because it'll help bury Rick when he's doing a good enough job himself. I'm just thinking that wouldn't you have thought twice before you publicly said that about a worldwide figure who also is allegedly a friend of yours, if it wasn't already out in the general public sphere?
Well, I have the quote here, the exact quote. This is from the Double Coverage podcast. Ric Flair said about Hulk Hogan, "I talked to him the day before he died. I shouldn't say this, but what killed him was street drugs. When the doctor wouldn't prescribe him anymore, he was to stop laughing. You're getting me to laugh.
I'm just what I shouldn't say this, but you know, goddamn, I have pictures of him fucking an ocelot.
When the doctor wouldn't prescribe anymore, he was in so much pain. Then he had a neck surgery and got infected. So back in the hospital, imagine 10 back surgeries, 2 knees, 2 hips, all this. And then when the doctor would not prescribe any more pain medication, they just couldn't do it. In all due conscience. So they went and got the drugs off the street. His body just said, you know what? Bingo, I can't do it anymore. Sad.
Sad. And who's they? That he's implicating. Think about this. Hogan's family, I guess his ex-wife or whoever's involved in it with her, aren't they in the middle of a malpractice lawsuit saying that it was medical malpractice that caused some issue? Well, then the defense of that can come back and say, well, his best friend said he was taking fucking meth. I don't know what he's doing.
Really? Yeah, how's Ric Flair helping anyone by saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, his best friend said he's out here on all his goddamn street drugs. He could have been drinking fucking Clorox. We don't know. How is that?
Well, again, that's a quote from the Double Coverage podcast. Obviously, a very serious interview with Ric Flair. He then put out a tweet. Let me read this to you, Jim. This is from his Twitter account, at Ric Flair, NATR Boy, from November 28th, 3:47 p.m. I'm going to try to read this the best I can. Everything is capitalized here.
You got to do that on purpose, don't you?
You do. It's a choice. There seems to be some controversy over my remarks that street drugs killed Hulk Hogan. I only was repeating what I know to be fact through family members. So now he's pointing the fingers at them.
No.
Hold on, there's more. After 11 back surgeries, hip replacements, knee replacement, shoulder replacement, and 2 neck surgeries, I am sure the pain was unbearable. A doctor, as I know, can only prescribe so much pain medication under the medical guidelines. I've been told that all they did was to help him not to hurt him, to help him get through the night and the pain. Eventually that catches up with you, as we know, as we know with everybody. He was my friend, a man I respected.
And his family drugged him and killed him. What is the world? Why do you have to? Could he take out a billboard? Why do you have to announce these things? And if he's concerned about this, shouldn't he call some authorities?
He was my friend, a man I respected, and I'm only reporting what I've been told. Nothing more, nothing less.
By who?
This was not an attempt to demean Hulk Hogan or his legacy. I've always referred to him as being one of the 2 biggest stars in the industry, himself And Steve Austin, I apologize if people misunderstood my statement. Hulkamania forever.
Oh, no. But, okay, again, even if let's say that there was any validity to this because we don't know where it came from, but is this something that you just discuss willy-nilly out on podcasts and tweet about? And apparently, if you have the most recent communique from Nate, Hogan's wife wasn't real happy about it.
You got to imagine it's like some kind of group text to her, Nick Hogan, a few other people. Who the fuck is talking to Ric Flair? Because that's what he's saying. Like, I know they were doing this. They were driving around doing this.
You think it's Brooke? Because Brooke ain't with the rest of the clique there anymore, is she?
She's not, but she seems like she kind of has her shit together. I don't think she was turning to Uncle Rick.
She was the most normal one.
Yeah, I don't think she's turning to Ric Flair right now. Rick, you have such a great way of handling the press. Go out there and say this. By the way, Rick, I really want to get you fired up. The drug dealer's an Egyptian. Yeah, I don't know if there's any defending this, but we have another article here.
Possibly Linda the Looney. So, I know what they did. I know what they did, Rick. They killed him.
Well, he said, I'm talking to the family. That's a very vague... Could be anyone. Could be Randy Hogan.
Maybe it was Charlie Manson. All right. Anyway, the most recent.
Well, this is not the most recent. This is the second to most recent. This is from yesterday as we are recording, December 1st, 2025, from TMZ Sports. Hulk Hogan's widow denies Ric Flair's claim street drugs didn't kill WWE legend.
You know, they're common drugs, something you find on every street.
Ric Flair's shocking claim that street drugs killed Hulk Hogan is simply not true. This, according to the wrestling legend's widow, who tells TMZ Sports that the Nature Boy was fed some bad info. Flair, why do they write like that?
I wonder if it was in liquid or solid form.
Flair recently...
Now you're a goddamn newscaster.
Flair recently
Straighten your shit out there, pal.
Flair recently addressed Hogan's death on the Double Coverage podcast when he stated that he spoke with Hulk the day before he passed about his deteriorating health. There it is.
And speech patterns.
Flair claimed Hogan's doctor stopped prescribing him. Well, we already said all that stuff. We asked Hogan's widow, Sky, about Flair's comments, and she said point blank, that didn't happen at all. Sky, who also denied that Flair spoke to Hulk.
By the way, are we expected to trust someone named Sky?
Our parents named her. I mean, unless it's like a nickname. You have a problem with Sky?
It sounds suspicious to me, but
well,
you know,
Sky, who also denied that Flair spoke to Hulk the day before his death. so she's calling bullshit on that too. Went on to say
it was a couple months, maybe out of time flies.
Went on to say that the icon was under constant care of the Morton Plant Hospital in Florida, so Nate had to have either been misinformed or he misunderstood. Sky said the only changes to Hulk's medication came following his neck procedure to ensure whatever he was taking did not impact his lungs. We spoke with two other family sources about Flair's claim, and they both stated it was completely untrue as well. They found the thing to unite the Hogan family and pointing at that Ric Flair's full of shit.
Oh, why is he doing this?
The family isn't pissed at Flair. They know he was one of Hogan's close buddies and didn't mean any harm with his words, but they wanted to make it clear he got this one wrong. As we previously reported, Sky was planning to file a malpractice lawsuit over Hogan's death back in August, although it's unclear if it's still in the works.
And I know one material witness that will be called by the defense if it is.
Ric Flair, once again, Jim, took to Twitter to address Sky's comments to TMZ Sports.
He can't just call her on the phone.
Once again, everything, every first letter is capitalized. It's a photo posted of him with Hulk Hogan. Seems to be from a little while back. There's a man doing a cameo in the background. Looks like a modern-day Uncle Fester.
It better be from a little while back if it's him and Hogan. What kind of goddamn shit's Rick pulling these days, then?
Ric Flair wrote, "Okay, Sky, I got bad information according to you.
Uh-oh.
I should have never mentioned it. I have known Hogan since 1979.
Since before you were born, young lady.
Let's just move past this and concentrate on his legacy. Period. End of story. Let's preserve his legacy," and that's in caps, "rather than dwell on any negative energy."
What?
I repeat, Hulkamania forever. He's the one who created the negative energy.
I was about to say that didn't sound like a full-throated apology for getting the facts wrong. Okay, well, you and the family say one thing, but I was told another thing, so we'll just agree to he was great. And don't dwell on the negative things that I said that you had to rebut to TMZ.
And who knows who he talked to? That's another question. If you have any kind of medical issue, do you want Ric Flair knowing at this point? Have you heard too much? Where you're like, don't tell Rick. I know he's my friend. Don't tell him what's going on with anything with us.
Yeah. Oh, Rick, I tell you, I got these hemorrhoids. Oh, never mind. I'm doing great.
Because it's going to cry. At some point, it's going to be like, my friend, yeah, you hear he's leaving his wife. Yeah, he's just waiting. And then it's going to get out. It's like, what the fuck? I had the wrong information. I'm sorry. I take it all back according to you.
I'm glad that he never did work on any government contracts. We would be at a security risk. Rick can't keep things to himself anymore. Apparently,
there was a time that what they want him to run for, was it governor or senator in North Carolina?
Oh my God! I think it was governor. It was governor, I believe.
That was a long.
So we would have known all the fucking gory details about what was going on in North Carolina.
Ric Flair in an affair with Olivia Nuzzy. Hear the text message. Well,
the airplane press pool would have been traveling by helicopter.
Well, I think, Jim, that brings us full circle here today. That's the latest from the Ric Flair Hulk Hogan file. And with that, the drive-through, let me reach this, is closed. And one of these needs to be tuned.
Well, your twiddler is more pleasant than your organ.
Be back in a few days on the Jim Cornette Experience, wherever you find your favorite podcast. And of course, next week, right back here on the drive-thru, go through the archive, patreon.com/Cornette. $5 a month gets you access to the archive going back to 2013. Patreon.com/Cornette. The official Jim Cornette YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and subscribe today. Full episodes, clips of the episodes, omnibus collections. Just search for Jim Cornette. It'll pop right up. The official Jim Cornette YouTube channel. Cornette's Collectibles at JimCornette.com. I'm out of breath. What's going on, Jim?
I covered it at the top of the program. No reason to bore the people now.
JimCornette.com. Of course, you can hear the wrestling news each and every day wherever you find your favorite podcasts, or go to thewrestlingnews.com to get it directly. Oh, and of course, the drive-thru is brought to you by the laws of Stephen P. New. 877-50-STEVE. Get even with Stephen at newlawoffice.com. But until a few days on the Experience, and next week back here on the drive-thru, for Jim Cornette, I'm the great Brian Last. Tally-ho!
Ouch.